Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could take sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to hate it. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
It will happen, Adam.
Eventually. It's a miracle that'll happen. Okay, so folks, I want to tell you a couple things here. You know, this is Sundays, we've never done a podcast. So for whatever reason, St. Patrick's Day, let me be ready for this so no one's going to go out there and say, Pat's not wearing green. Jen and Papa got me to put this on.
Nice.
Looks great.
Let me just
wow.
be fully prepared. But it's a Sunday special, you know, for some of you guys that are skipping church today, or you watched a service in the morning with your family. We have a reverend in the house. It's a very special guy that's in the house. He's loved. Let me put it to you this way. You know what's crazy? Normally we'll say, hey, guys, we're thinking about doing something special on Saturday. Our guys will typically show up. But today, the people that would normally not show up just showed up for the hell of it because they just want to see this guy, because they love this guy. And we were with him 2 nights ago performing. I'm not going to tell you the jokes he told, but he was funny as hell. Jennifer doesn't go to shows with me late night because she has to put the kids to sleep and she has to wake up early. But she doesn't miss this guy. So, Schulz, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much, man.
I was talking to a couple of your guys, and one of the guys is in the crew that we're talking to. I said, listen, if I wanted to, do a late night show with any guy, and I'm going to keep saying this until this happens. There's two guys I love.
I like
two guys.
Okay.
I think the other guy's going to do something. I think he's going to go a different direction than you. I think you're more versatile, that you can talk a lot of different topics, but I think that guy's also going to do something. Marcelo SNL, I'm a big fan of him.
Marcelo's great, man.
Yeah,
Shout out Marcelo.
I'm a big fan of that guy. He's a special guy. But for you, hey, if I were to put $500 million into a media company to want to have a late night show, I would probably spend 20% of it and sign a guy to do a late night show, bring writers, bring a team, and have that guy compete against the Fallon, the Kimmel, all those guys, and I think you would kill it, bro.
Up my man.
I think you would kill it.
And I would watch it.
Bro, I would come and watch. I'd be sitting there saying, I'm going to be sitting there watching it. So
maybe we got to make something happen.
Maybe we got to make something happen.
Maybe we got to make something.
But since
that space could be taken over quite easily.
100%.
Yeah.
I think 100% that space can be taken. But listen, since you took me out of church this morning and I had to watch it on video, I think it's fair to say you got to lead this podcast into prayer, bro.
Oh, let's do it.
Do your prayer.
Oh my God, there's a lot of pressure. Okay,
yeah.
how do I start it out?
Well, listen, do whatever. They say, you may be the best living comedian, but the greatest comedian of all time is a man upstairs, because they say he's got a sense of humor.
The biggest sense of humor.
So from a living to a spiritual, give us a prayer, buddy. We're waiting for you.
Okay. Who was St. Patrick, by the way? Just so I know.
He drank a lot, apparently.
That was it? That was
that all?
Well, shout out to St. Patrick. Okay, well, Father, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to wake up this morning, see our kids. That's pretty cool, man. I can't wait till Sosnick eventually stops aborting them. It'd be great for Father. Please give Sosnick the guidance to find love and find a woman he can commit the rest of his life to.
I love this prayer right now.
Hopefully Jewish, but if not, I think we'll take really anything. Anything at this point. So please, Father. Please, Father, tell Vincent to age. This guy's been getting younger every single time I see him. He is 2% body fat. It is absolutely terrifying. And I want him to fall apart, as he should, as all Middle Eastern men should. At a certain age, he should have a stomach full of baba ganoush, but it has not happened yet.
So special prayer.
This is very special.
I'm going to start crying.
This is very special.
Sentimental.
Please, Father, change the Constitution so Patrick can be president one day.
Yes.
Okay, we would really like that, Father. That would be really fun. I don't know if he would like it after 4 years, but I think the 4 years he would really go enjoy, maybe do some good things, and then you do the George Washington thing where you just kind of give it up. You go, okay, I think it's in a good place, and everybody run with it, because you got a family you got to hang out with, and that's most important. And and thank you so much for. This is fun to be grateful, but I get it. Yeah, I get church, man. Yeah. Gratitude's nice, huh? Look.
I love it.
Hey, but thank you so much for all this, okay? We really appreciate you.
Amen.
By the way, we're walking into Hard Rock 5,000 sold out. The intro, the video of your
sick.
dad, the kid, you do. I saw the. I had no idea you could dive and do the double, whatever that was. What was that all about? Did it
It was a 1.5.
That was pretty sick. Guys, for athlete, boxing, all this stuff he was in, and then dad brings it up. What a cool experience.
Oh, yeah.
How was that for you? I saw that one thing you did with your pops when you went to Madison Square Garden. You make the call. You documented that whole thing. Hey, Dad, you won't believe it. And it was something like you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
How was that moment for you?
Oh, that was surreal, man. It was like really emotional. You know, my dad is unfortunately, losing his memory. Short-term memory is gone. He's got dementia, and it's called non-amyloid plaque. I guess dementia, I think. So usually what happens with Alzheimer's is you develop these amyloid plaques, and I think that affects your memory. But for whatever reason, he doesn't have it, so he can't take any like the experimental drugs and that kind of shit. Anyway, so his short-term memory isn't really there. So sometimes he remembers what's going on, sometimes he doesn't. Like we were just kind of like waiting to go out onto the court, and he kept on being like, "Why are we here?" And I'd like tell him, and then going out there was just really. Yeah, it was just awesome. That was like the last dream for me in stand-up comic to do, and like to have him be there for that. It was, I mean, I don't know. I just said it in the video. He like just believed in me so much, and it was so valuable to me.
How important do you think that is for men to have that?
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah.
Why do you think?
I don't know. It's interesting. Like I don't have anything to compare it to. So like it's the same thing when people are like, oh, growing up in New York must have been so weird. It's like I don't have anything to compare it to, which is really normal. But I feel like I had this confidence, and I think the confidence really came from my parents like listening to me. Like they just valued what I had to say. Like we had dinner every single night at 5:30, and it was just like an hour where they would just be like, what do you think about the world? What's going on? What are you doing? And I think from that, I was like, oh, when I say things, people should listen. Almost to the point, like, when I would talk and they wouldn't listen, I'd be like, these guys are rude. Like, there's someone important talking right now.
Hello?
Like, and I really think that's all my family. Just, like, making me feel like what I had to say was important. And then you build some confidence there. And, like, with confidence, you can achieve a lot, even when you don't have talent.
What do you think? Can you imagine the power of asking your kids, what do you think?
Weird.
Yeah, what do you think?
You think I'm smart enough to give an answer that you're interested in my opinion?
Wow. Yeah.
What a powerful thing to say, right?
Always interested in opinions, and like I was, such a brat probably. Like how like you're a kid, you want to like tell your parents how the world really works, and they just kind of let me do it. They're like, "Oh, why do you feel that way?"
That's so good.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's just like this. Hey, listen, take that iPad. We're going to go take that for 5 hours.
Yeah.
We're going to be over here.
Yeah.
No conversation.
And by the way, at what point did mom and dad know you're gonna be a comic? Because it seemed like from video from yesterday, like it was like 14, 15. Is that?
No, like I think they always knew I liked being funny, and so I don't think it was like surprising for them. But there was never any pushback when I said I wanted to do it. Matter of fact, they were like really supportive of me, like whatever endeavor I wanted to get into. Like I remember once, like after college, I'd saved up a little money, and my friend and I were like thinking about opening up a bar, and my parents were like, "Oh yeah, well okay, well we can like mortgage the in our home."
Wow.
Swear to God. And I look back on that, I'm like, you idiots. Like, why would you do that? Like, I don't know anything about a bar. But, like, I think my parents are such dreamers. Like, my mom is, like, this big dreamer,
Were they in the entertainment show business? What did they do?
My mom is born and raised in Scotland, comes to America, when she's, like, 20-something years old, like, very young. Probably dropped out of school when she was, like, 15 or something like that. And then she comes to America, and she becomes, like, a 3-time U.S. ballroom dance champion.
Wow.
So, of, like, her generation in her field, she was, the GOAT. And then she just starts this like dance studio and starts teaching classes, and she like figured out this thing that like the hustle. I mean, this is probably boring, but like the hustle for dance lessons was basically what they would do is assess how much money you made and then charge you accordingly.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of like fucked up. So what my mom did was like, well, instead of like having you come in and giving you a free lesson and finding out what your job was and all this other shit, she was like, what if I just taught like group lessons? And then I could teach 30 people at one time and then charge them all the same price. And instead of trying to be, oh, you're a lawyer. What type of lawyer? Oh, well, for you, it's a package of this, da-da-da-da.
He's right, though. Personal trainers are like that as well. It's based on how much money you make.
Are you
and then,
serious?
Yeah. There'll be a lot of guys like that there. So, and don't make the mistake. It's short term. You can't do it long term.
It's so short term.
Because the moment you ask another person and say, so what did he do? Yeah, he charged me 60. Why am I paying 95? And I go, why'd you pay him 60? Well, he's been with me. He's only been with you 2 months more than me. Well, and then boom, you don't want to hire the guy anymore and you move on.
So my pops was a journalist. And he used to produce the news before he was like an on-air reporter. He's got like a wild story, man. He's like Forrest Gump is the way I'd take position him. Like my granddad claims that he was there at the game where Babe Ruth pointed out the home run. And my dad is like, there's no fucking way this guy was there. But he claims he was there. So anyway, so my pops is in the Army, and he was down in Baltimore. And then when he left the Army, he was like an on-air reporter. He was like a news reporter, right? But he had like a stutter while he was in the Army. So like he takes these like speech lessons, he gets over the stutter, and then he goes on and become a fucking live reporter, right? Which is like the most random thing. And then from there, he ends up producing the news in New York. And he does like the first ever story on like hip hop music. Like he went up to like the Bronx. He interviews Grandmaster Flash, DJ Hollywood, and all these other guys. Like just really crazy stuff. Interviews Russell Simmons in his fucking tiny little cubicle office in Midtown. And he's like, this is going to be the biggest thing ever. And my dad's like, you don't even have a table. You know what I mean? Like the phone is on the carpet.
Wow. Now, is he interested or is he just curious?
He's the most fascinated guy. He's just so curious by it. Like and I think that's where I probably get the curiosity is like, if the busboy has like more than 8 glasses on a tray, he'll be like, how do you handle that? How do you balance it? Like whoever he's talking to, they feel they're the most important person that and he's genuine. He's like really trying to figure it out. So, he ends up getting hustled by some dance teacher, and he hears about this thing, and he goes, this is a racket. What the fuck is up with this? Like, I want to do a piece about this. And his friend goes, hey, don't do a piece where you're ripping apart these dance instructors. Instead, do a piece about this woman, Sandra Cameron, who is the 3-time U.S. ballroom dance champion. Does a piece about my mom, or goes to meet my mom, does a piece, and then that's how they meet.
Oh, wow.
Crazy, right?
And then look at us now. Now, how much of what the way he raised you and they raised you are you planning on using on the way you raise your kids?
I mean, as much as I can. Yeah. Like I'm trying to keep those things. Like I'm at home at 6 o'clock every day when I'm in town, and hopefully that'll be our little dinner situation. Hang in, plug in. And
so late night not going to work?
Well, when she goes to bed, when my daughter goes to bed, that's when I'll go out and do shows.
When she goes to bed, then you go out there and do shows.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
It's exciting, man.
with
Just seeing you telling the story, the whole thing, which, by the way, if you've not been, if you get a chance to go, is this going to be a special? Are you planning? Okay, so are you doing it the same we did it last time, or what's the plan with that?
I think this one might be different. This one might be different. To be determined. You know what I mean? Capitalism is a motherfucker, Pat.
and it favors you the more market wants you, which is great, right? So I love that.
I was thinking, sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about this. So it's funny even about the late night show because we had RFK on the pod, right?
Yeah,
have you guys
that's
spoken to RFK?
Of course,
Yeah. It's charming guy, really charming. He's Kennedy's fucking charming, and he said something on the pod that was a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was serious, but it was meant in like a laughing way, right? Like, and he basically is talking about because I asked him about hanging out with Epstein. And he goes, listen, you understand, like, I'm in New York at this time. Like, he goes, I had Bill Cosby at my house. I had OJ at my house. I had Harvey Weinstein. He goes through the gambit of the worst people on purpose. Like, he's trying to show, look how many awful people were in my life. Instead of these, like, Hollywood phonies that go, oh, my God, Harvey Weinstein, how could you even be with him? And then all of them have fucking pictures sucking his dick on the red carpet in a fucking decade.
That's right, on their knees, yeah.
Exactly. And he goes, and then you find out these people are swamp creatures and they're just absolutely disgusting.
Yep.
Now, and then I make a little joke to him. I go, I mean, you hung out with good people too, right? He's like, yeah, of course, blah, blah, blah. So the context is, look at all these people that you can hang out with that you don't even know are awful, and then you find out they're awful, right? So Fallon does a joke, and they just take the section where he talks about the people, Weinstein, OJ, whatever. And then he does it, oh my God, who else were you hanging out with? Jeffrey Dahmer, blah, blah, blah. I know. And a few nights later, Colbert does the same joke, right? And you see it, and they're both leaving out the context that he's like, hey, this is how crazy is that this can happen? You can hang out with these awful people because you're in this social scene, you don't even know it, right? That's the context, right? But they leave out the context of everything. And I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, like I see how people could think that there is a conspiracy going on. Like when you see this information, you see like the same joke written twice. There's only 3 late night shows. They should be aware of the jokes that are kind of being made based off the same clip taken out of context. You're like, oh my God, there's a conspiracy. But I think sometimes laziness presents itself as conspiracy. And I'll bring this back to capitalism in a second and why sometimes I get a little bit concerned about how we could be manipulated by outside sources. So the laziness is there are these writers, right? That they know they just need to get jokes on in order to, continue their life, right? They got to chase the path of least resistance to make money, to provide for their families, right? They don't love that job. They're not passionate about writing fucking knock jokes for Fallon or any of the other late night hosts. It's not their desire. A lot of them probably started as comedians, stand-up comedians. They want to be out there touring and doing that. This is what pays the bills, protects their family. That's awesome. But the path of least resistance is to write the joke they know will get on air, and this joke will get on air. Right? It's a pretty easy joke. Like, look, this guy served you up silver platter. Okay. Put it out there. That's the path of least resistance. So now people see this and they're like, look at all these organizations that have a targeted strike on this candidate, RFK, when in reality, they're just going through the path of least resistance. Now, here's my concern. You don't need like a nefarious group of people to create assets out of every single politician and lobby every single group if you can control the path of least resistance. That's the thing that scares me, right? I think that's the TikTok concern. If you control the carrot, you control the culture.
Yes.
Right? You control the carrot. And an example of this would be with, for example, movies in China. Like Hollywood knows if you get a movie in China, they take like 10 a year. If you get a movie in China, that movie's making crazy money, right? So now all of a sudden, Taiwan isn't going to ever be mentioned in a movie because you want to make sure it meets the Chinese standards. They are dangling the carrot, creating the path of least resistance, and then affecting culture. And I feel like that's one of the things, like capitalism is the best system, no question, without the best thing that we got. But it was developed at a time where we were the ones consuming everything. We were the biggest consumers. Now you got some other money out there. And if the only thing driving us is capital, we can be manipulated by those sources out there that have the capital. So we have to have something else that guides us. Like that's the value of, I imagine, religion. That's the value of ideology. That's the value of American pride. But if you're at a place where you don't have an American pride and American identity, and the only thing you're going after is cash, whoever's got the cash is going to dictate your culture. So that's the scary shit about if China is running TikTok, which of course they are. They should. That's the game. That's what we would do. I'm sure that's what we do with our social media apps. And that's why they don't allow them in their country. But it's very dangerous when they could push certain levers to create certain conversations. And when some people in America don't want money, they definitely want attention. They'll do anything for attention. And if you get attention on this app doing these things that cause, I don't know, a little bit of a negative discourse, let's say, in America, it's concerning.
Did you ever watch the movie Tetris?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
What a sick concept,
Yeah.
right? Because what you're telling me remind me of Tetris, where the guy is a supporter of Gorbachev, is a communist, but his right-hand guy is actually a capitalist and is willing to compromise the pride of the USSR for money as long as the Tetris people are giving him the $5 million or the deal is being done through one guy, not the other guy. So let me ask this question. So what is the solution to that? I have some thoughts, and I think you subtly said it, but I think you kind of hovered over it real quickly when you said, the pride, the religion, the heritage. I would also add values and principles.
Yeah, yes.
How do we bring that up, though?
That's the thing. It's like, I mean, I joke around about this, in stand-up all the time, like that I hate legal immigrants. Not illegal ones. The legal ones annoy me because they want to tell you about why their country's great and shit like that. And it's just like, the nice thing about illegals is they love America so much. Now, my mom is a legal immigrant, right? Gay, You ask permission? It's the least American thing to do ever. Just show up and say it's yours. No, but I think that we need a pride movement. I think that's really important. And I think it's very easy when you're on top to look at all the things that aren't going well because you have nowhere else to see, right? You have no one else to aspire to be. There's no other country in the world that any of us like look at and go, man, I wish we were them.
Never.
Like, if we're being honest, it's the only country in the world that you would want to live for 12 months. Name another one you would want to live for 12 months.
I don't. I wouldn't.
I can't think.
All year round.
Yeah.
And this is the conversation I have with anybody when they're like, "Oh, this is the best country in the world." 12 months. Give me 12 months. Mm-hmm. Canada, no.
Nope. Mm-hmm.
Canada has to invade like Turks and Caicos. If Canada invaded like 3 Caribbean islands, they'd be pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
They'd be pretty good. But you can't just be in snow all year round.
Yeah.
You know, Australia's kind of close, but like. You just can't. So it is the best, but I think sometimes when you're at the top, you're just looking for reasons why you could be better instead of looking at what you could be. And I think we need a little more pride. That's just my opinion.
And Andrew, when you're talking, so you do the podcast. I saw like clips of it from you on RFK, and then like you said, you watch something like these late night shows. They're all obviously stealing from each other and writers and whatever. Mm-hmm. And how you say. The laziness, like you see something like that, they put it out there. Laziness, I think, is one. Number 2, there's no time to sit there and fact check something that you're seeing. The damage has already been done. You feel me? Yeah. People are watching that. Automatically, the rumors and friends are texting, RFK hung out with these disgusting, but he's a pedophile. Like that rumor gets out. Do you think that comes from the top? Like there's somebody telling them, hey, all you guys, that RFK, he's going against the Democratic Party. Go after him, bash his ass, get it out there.
I don't think it always happens that way.
Okay.
I think sometimes it's laziness.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. If I'm like, let's say it's the deep state or the some nefarious group of people, right?
Yeah.
It's too much effort to call every showrunner of every show and every radio host and every podcast and be like, hey, we're taking down RFK. If you're really powerful at the top, control the carrot. Control what you get canceled for. Control what you get in trouble for. And once you dictate what those guidelines are, people won't stray from them because they just bought a house and they're installing a pool. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to risk it. They don't want to risk the pool, right? They don't want to risk their kids who are in private school. It's like, fuck, if I get fired, how are we going to pay for this private school? So they don't want to risk it. And I understand that too. Control the carrot. What we got to make sure is I'm okay with America controlling the carrot. Like, I'm okay with us making our decisions and having over half the population decide, hey, this is what we want. That's an awesome system. Love democracy. What I'm concerned about is another country controlling the carrot. And I think there are opportunities for that because of the beauty of capitalism, which is like lifting people out of destitute poverty. Well, now they don't. Now they're not middle class. Now they got money, and they could throw it around. And you know what we like? We like money.
Yeah. And again, to me, on what you're saying is so important because I had a call with him one night, and I don't know when this was. I said, can I ask you a question? And we were talking about faith. And I'm like, why don't you go to church? He said, well, we don't have church. I said, I get that. I said, but why don't you go practice your faith?
Temple.
I said, why don't you go practice your faith? He says, why? I said, why don't you go actually practice your family, your heritage, have pride in it, pursue it, continue, do your thing. Why don't you do that? If you're skeptical, I'll give you my option. You can go to church with me on Sunday. But if not, I want you to have pride in your heritage, where you're from, your family, your last name, your country, who gave you the opportunity, right? I think it's weird because in the insurance space, when you're building a business, we would always talk about there's 4 things to build in a big agency. It was how-to, it was systems, it was crusade, and it was dream, right? So meaning what? If you don't have systems, I can't transfer the knowledge to you. So for example, system for writing. I guarantee if I spend an hour with you, you can probably help me learn the basics of writing a joke. Now, whether I'm going to do a good job or not, it doesn't matter. But there's a system to it, and you'll probably transfer the system to me. Great. How to, that's just my skill set. Am I going to be able to how to write it, right? Yeah. But then the other part when you're sitting there talking to somebody is also, which any office that I ever saw flatline, They spend way too much time on system and how to, not enough time on cause and dream. So they were all about, well, here's how you do this, and here's how you do this, and you say this when they say this, and you overcome the objection this way. And it was all logic. And in the offices I would go to that were not the best in script, that were not the best in system, they're up there saying, let me tell you, the dream one day, imagine your kids going to the school you want to, and then the dream of one day you being able to make your mom and dad proud, and the dream of this, that, and imagine what they're doing to us, and the enemy is coming after us. We got to correct the injustice. Yeah. And 200 people in the room are on fire of wanting to take over the world, right?
Yeah.
I think in America, the people who are selling America, they're selling it logically. Some of them are afraid to sell America. We're not selling the dream of America like we used to. We're not selling the crusade of America. We're not selling the cause, the correcting the injustice, the fact that there's a real enemy. And because we're not doing that, the Americans are confused. You make a very, very good point on how much power the writers have. And the writers are controlled by the people that are giving them money. And God forbid, if you write the wrong joke, then that guy's going to be able to lose and not being able to put his kid in private school. So I have to criticize this guy. We're doing a podcast with Gina Carano, and a guy sends me an email 2 days ago. Very, very well-known director who has directed movies that I'm convinced you love. I'll show you afterwards, and you can hear, convinced we love this guy. Okay, his work. And he says, look, I got to tell you, I watched the podcast. He's at Cabo with his family celebrating their vows. They're renewing their vows.
Oh, beautiful.
And his daughter's wearing the Future Looks Bright hat. And it's like, look, I consume the PBD podcast. I don't agree with a lot of things you said, but I agree with the approach you're taking it. And I'm starting to pay attention to the political side more, right?
Yeah.
As long as guys like us, the scary part today, Andrew, is that you're able to, through common sense and humor, because humor opens up the mind, right? The power of humor is so freaking powerful, right?
Yeah.
You can use humor to get people to say, I freaking love this guy, and he believes that. Why does a smart guy, funny guy like that believe that? So I think there's a lot of the Avengers of today are not going to be the Avengers of 50 years ago. I think the Avengers of today are going to be different types of Avengers.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be more effective.
Yeah. No, I hear you that. But what happened with the conversation?
Well, he was talking about that as a guy who's in the space.
Yeah.
I agree with the things you're talking about. And he says, when I saw that the reason why Disney fired her, right after they fired her, and I went and found that for myself why that was, he says, I don't support that, and I'm in the industry.
Yeah.
And the guys that he's done his movies with, guess what? They're all on the left.
Yeah.
Hardcore
on the left, right? So meaning if we're talking, selling the dream, the cause, and we have our own way of communicating, and we're selling the system that's worked, enough people with common sense and logic are sitting there saying, I agree, and there's no way in the world you're going to take that away from my kids. So it not only gets the logic to clicking, and it also, I'm willing to fight for.
That's why voices are important. That's why it's important to have discussions about it, because the average person might not have the time or interest to do the intellectual heavy lifting to communicate an argument that they feel. So when you have people out there that are doing that heavy lifting and equipping them with the ammunition they need to defend their beliefs, it's really valuable to them. They're so grateful. They know that they feel like they should be able to make a joke about a certain thing, but they don't know why. And you equip them with the argument as to why. It's so liberating for them. It really is. And I think that's why you see a lot of these figures. I'm sure that you guys do that for people. You see, I'm sure Ben Shapiro does that for people that are conservative. I'm sure when it comes to Israel, Palestine, you have people on both sides doing it, right? And it's really valuable that those voices are there so you can communicate what you feel. It is hard to sit down and read books about an issue. It's hard. It's hard to sit down and listen to lectures. That's difficult. But the average person still wants to feel like they have some sort of communication apparatus.
See, the reason why I'm a big fan of yours and comedy, we've had many comedians. I like anything that makes me laugh. I'm for it, because when you grow up in a crazy environment, you need humor, you need levity, you need something to kind of calm your nerves. But to me, I'm very excited and curious to know what you do next 20 years, because I think you're an intellect and you're entertaining, and there's values and principles. Holy shit, that's a great combo.
Triple threat.
So, meaning the upside of the influence, I want to see what a late night, if we have a late night that's being ran by a guy like Andrew and people are watching it, logic will sink in, as long as he can have the influence over the writers, as long as like, no, I'm not writing this. No, I'm not writing this. No, I'm not saying this. No, guys, can we, is this true? Is this really happening? Can you Google it? No, I don't, that's not what he said. Let me play the whole clip. Okay, no, I'm not with this. If we have to compete with culture, right? Because if you let it be the way it is right now, you're talking about Fallon and Kimmel and Colbert, and they're saying what they're saying. Like, no, this is not going to work out. So that's why I'm curious to know what you're going to be doing next 20.
Especially if there's no directive, that there's nobody on top saying, like Andrew, you can't say this, don't. That cannot be infiltrated at all. It's like, listen, we're going to be funny and speak the facts.
The only thing is, if you're going to try to, because I also think I watched Leno at 13, 14 years old. So I think if you're also going to be trying to overlap and get their attention, your content has to be something that parents want them to have the kids listen as well. So like when we went and watched his stuff, right, on Friday night, I almost peed my pants. Yeah. I mean, because everything that he says with the story, like, dude, the way he broke it down, the macho side of man, and then deep down it's like, holy shit, this doctor just freaking, took all my manhood away from me, and you're going to go through it in life. But then I'm like, babe, you think we could have taken Tico to it? I'm like, I would have loved to have taken Tico at 18.
Oh, yeah.
Tico can't hear that today at 12, right?
No.
So it needs to be, you do need to have the enough sense to know if we're going to have the 13-year-old listen, it needs to be slightly different than comedy of Friday night and us, we're going there cracking up. That's the only thing.
That's the tricky thing. Obviously, back in the day, they had a much more difficult task in that they were creating TV programming for everyone. They're like, how do we make every single person watch? And now I think with streaming and the internet, you can make much more nuanced programming. So it might be a show that's specifically for like 18 to 40. Maybe it's women. Maybe it's men. Maybe they cross over. Maybe it's this political agenda. Maybe it's that political agenda. But that's possible now. Whereas before, you literally couldn't. There was 4 channels. You know what I mean? You're just like, hey, we need to make something that's cast a wide net. So I like the programming now better. You know, but also you'd be surprised what these kids watch on the internet.
There's no question about it. There's no question about it. The only thing is, the question isn't what the kids are watching. The question is, who controls the remote and who controls the phone. And if we allow the other side to be in their brain and their minds and they're seeing it, they're consuming it, and they don't, like, for example, crazy thing, Grindr, the app. We're in the middle of the podcast this week. This guy brings up Grindr, okay?
On my phone.
He brings up Grindr.
That explains
everything.
We're talking about TikTok.
God,
and we've been trying to find him a Jewish girl this whole time.
And he's on Grindr just grinding it out.
Well,
but let me tell you the whole story here before he's going to lose his mind because his secret girlfriend's watching him. So we're talking about Grindr, right? Watch this. The crazy thing about Grindr. So how 98% ownership of Grindr is a Chinese-owned company.
Weird.
Okay? But watch this. You know what's crazy? They sell for $608. Do you know what's crazy? I'm in the middle of the podcast, I'm like, I'm just curious to know where Grindr is not available.
Banned.
And guess where it's banned in?
China.
In China.
Of course.
Yeah, every app. Every American app is banned there.
But that's a Chinese-owned app.
Yeah.
98% of the money is from there. So
our TikTok is banned there.
Yes.
And that's a Chinese-owned app.
That's right. That's right. So you got to give them.
They're smart.
Very strict.
This is the game. That's the other thing. I don't hate on it because this is the game, and we do the exact same thing. What they said is they can't compete with us. So if you can't compete, then you just put the border up, right? You just go, okay, we're not capable of competing with their social media because once it gets on here, it's gonna, our kids are gonna get hooked or whatever. We'll create our own. We're a little bit more arrogant. We're like, yeah, we'll take your little app, and then it really blew up. So now we got to compete. You know, I mean, there's this like rumor out there that like Facebook is trying to put the marketing or was putting the marketing dollars into like getting TikTok banned. Did you guys see this?
Yeah,
so, like,
because they can take market share and have a monopoly.
But here's the thing, like, I think that that's just mutual interests. I think that we should really look into where that data is going. But if there's a company that benefits from TikTok being banned, of course, why would they not do it? I don't think it's this like nefarious plan by Zuckerberg and his cohorts.
Same
this is what they just
totally agree.
Enemy, what is it? The enemy of your enemy is your friend, whatever that shit is. Yeah.
Yep.
So
well, you bring up back to this. You talk about pride.
Yeah,
I assume you said there's no American Pride Month is what you meant, right?
No, not American Pride, but
Okay.
I do want I wish that we had more pride, and it'd be nice if there was a way to have pride without war. I think the easiest way to have pride is war, right? You get everybody on the same side. There's a boogeyman and fucking aliens come down. All of a sudden, we're going to be calling everybody, and we're going to be like, hey, we got to go out there, buckle up, and make it happen. But it would be nice for us to remember. I mean, I guess one of the benefits that I had having a mom who's an immigrant is that, like, she saw how amazing America was. Like, she was able... My mom stopped going to school at 15 years old, right? And she came to America, and she owns a fucking home in the East Village of New York, you know what I mean? She has a home out in Fire Island along that. Like, this is a dream that was, like, unbelievable. She was an amazing woman, don't get me wrong. She is amazing. But, like, this is why she loves America so much. So I get to come up in that, right? But right now it feels like both sides hate America. Like, all they do is shit on America. Now, you could make the argument that they like it, or the right likes it more, the left likes it more. But if the only thing that's being spoken is how horrible it is and the cities are falling apart, why would we have pride? Right. You said this on our pod, more is caught than taught.
Yep.
That all I'm catching is how horrible it is, and the cities are decrepit, and everything's falling apart, and our infrastructure is this. It's like, boo-hoo. It's like, you have the opportunity to be the best version of yourself here. That's America. I don't know if you could be you in Iran. I know you can be you here. You might be a different version of it, but there's other factors there that are going to limit your greatness.
No question about it, bro.
Okay. This is where you get to be a superhero.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to me, it's just the most incredible fucking place in the world. It's the most incredible experience. Like, we have kids who are retarded here that are millionaires. Like, we win. You can be someone who is mentally ill and be a millionaire. Name another country where that's possible. There are streamers on the internet that are mentally retarded.
Yes.
And they're millionaires. What the fuck? Is that not amazing? Like, is that not mind-blowing?
Yeah.
Only in America.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You got some of that tism that your friend talked about.
Bro, the tism. Do you know what? I have to give this up to the Jews. The Jews are the best about this. The Jews, this is one thing that's amazing about Jews. The Jews with autism, they don't separate them. You just bring them on. Like, there's one Jew in every crew when we were at the casino that was, like, fully fucking tizzed out. And I don't know if he's there to count cards or some shit, but they fucking...
That's why he's there.
Dude, he is, like, full-blown, vaccinated, tizzed out of his mind. And he is... I don't know if he's counting. I don't know what he's doing, but he's part of the crew, right? The what do we call it, goys or whatever? The goys, we take our autistics and we put them somewhere else.
Buddy.
Yeah, we don't include them as much. They're not invited to the things. They're like, oh yeah, they're the little weirdos. You guys fucking lock them in. And maybe you're using them. Maybe that is what's going on.
Utilize.
You're utilizing them. And maybe we need to start doing this.
Of course.
They're making money.
What the fuck is wrong with us? What is wrong with us?
We're slipping.
Look at what we did with Mark Zuckerberg. Come on, buddy. Let's make something happen here.
Yes. We put all of ours on a Netflix show. You guys get yours working. They're like the hamster in the wheel.
So stay on this. Stay on this before transition. How do we increase the pride?
Autism.
Is it more vaccine? More vaccine is what we need?
Jab everybody. I'm getting in line.
What did he say? He says, I want my kids that don't look at anybody in their eyes.
Yeah,
what he said?
Mark's joke is so
your
good.
boy killed it.
By the way, you guys were funny because when I came on the podcast, I had no idea who he was.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are like, who is he? Yeah, he's just he does the technology here. I'm
He does the music. He picks the song.
He picks the music. That's what it is. He picks the song. I'm like,
No.
And then I'm like, this guy.
We were messing with you because we were playing like your greatest hits. But we had a playlist for you when you came on.
Dude, that was unfreaking believable.
So it was like
every song I love.
And you're like, who's doing this? How is this possible? We have our methods, you know.
They got an investigatory team. They got a team.
Literally, my favorite songs are playing it while I'm in there. I'm like,
you got a big guest coming on the pod. You got to take it serious.
It was great.
How did you put your crew together? Like PBD, you know, the Voltron that we've sort of formed here is PBD brought Tom from the business world. We met in the business world.
Yeah.
He literally slid in Vinny's DM. Hey, you're a Syrian comedian. You're number one in the world. It's like, I'm the only one in the world. Put a crew together. PBD's, you know, how did your crew come together?
I mean, I got so lucky, man. A lot of the guys in my crew I've been friends with forever. So the guy who does our partnership, Jamil, is like my best friend since I'm 13. Dove, who you guys know.
Sweet dude.
My
Awesome
first
guy.
friend in college, my best friend since then. Akash, who I do the podcast with, my best friend in comedy. And And then Mark, we met. He was opening for me in Orlando randomly, and he's an operator. He's really fucking smart. Like he was great. He is great. But like he was like, I'm gonna find a way to host this weekend so that I can meet him, and then maybe we can work together. And he fucking did it.
Great.
And he has a great podcast actually right now called Camp Gagnon that he does. And but yeah, he's just so fucking talented. And then I started collecting these different people. And if you have talent, I want to dump as much of my energy into it as I possibly can. Like, I love talented people. I want to be the least talented person in my crew, always. Like, I want to be the dumbest and the least talented, because like Vala, who made the intro video, and then Shifty, who does all the stand-up, it's like stand-up clips and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, yeah, it's just amazing. It's so much easier.
Vala did I meet Vala when I was?
Yeah.
He made the intro video.
Yeah, I think you met Vala.
What a sick video that was.
He's so talented.
Wow.
He's so talented.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's stay on this. I want to really get you to think, because I think your brain, creative brain, can think about something. So, say you get invited by this man named Joseph, okay, to this it's a street. I don't know. Let's pick a street, Pennsylvania.
Avenue.
Avenue. And you get invited to the city, D.C. Maybe it's a guy named Joseph. Maybe it's a man named Donald. Whoever's running it, right? Yeah. And they say, hey, Andrew, we want to find a way to increase American pride. In American exceptionalism. You know how America great, how great it is, and all this stuff. How do we do it?
That's a great question. I think it taps into opportunity. Like, I see these people all the time talking about the American dream is done. It's like, who the fuck are you? It's like, how can you even say that? There are people who make a living talking on podcasts. Like, that's a dream. That's not a reality. That is a dream that I could hang out with 3 of my friends and we could call each other gay for 2 hours every week and make money. Like, this is just an absurd surreality that we're living in. So yeah, I think that the dreams can change, but I think that maybe it's not. I love American exceptionalism, and I want to reinforce that, but it's really about like the opportunity to be the best version of yourself. And I think Americans are so far removed from what else is out there in the world, and oftentimes the lack of opportunity, that we don't even know how good that we have it in many cases. And anytime we try to talk about how good we have it, we are immediately reminded about some of the horrible things that happen in our country or have happened in our country. And those two things are not mutually exclusive. They can live together, right? Like, you could have great opportunity and disgusting things happen. No country is going to be fucking perfect, right? Capitalism ain't perfect. Democracy ain't perfect. None of this shit is perfect. We're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to be the best. But I really do think pride, and then identity, what it is to be an American. Like, what is it to be an American overall? I like that we have all these little groups, and all these little groups can thrive within America. That's awesome. But also, what is it for all of us to be American, right? There's like, okay, you're a Jewish American. Maybe you got your shit that you got to do. Friday nights are off or whatever. But you're still an American. And what is leading you in that regard? Mm-hmm. What is leading you as an American who's Chinese? What's leading you as an American as black? Like, when push comes to shove, what is that umbrella? And what do we all support? And what are we here for?
I'm the black guy in this podcast.
You're in a black shirt.
You're as close. You're as close to Africa as it gets.
I take it.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? How do you instill the?
But I think one is talking about it. I think one is selling it. I think one is. It would be great to show people from different walks of life unifying, that shouldn't be at an event together and all saying, here's why America's great, for no reason. And for the audience to sit there and say, what is that all about? That guy thinks America's great. So does this guy. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Wow. All these, like, for example, when's the last time we had an event in D.C. in front of, what do you call it? Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
And we have 500,000 people show up. And you bring 10 different people from different backgrounds, and all we're talking about is how awesome America is. And everybody rallies towards it. Imagine if we sell an event like that. No tickets, no cost, nothing. Hardcore security. We bring, literally,
Look at the
there.
Lincoln Memorial.
How sick is that, dude?
How fucked up is that? See how they do, Abraham?
9 people.
No.
What, the Kate?
He frees black people, and they put his statue behind bars.
Fucked up, man.
Unbelievable. Now,
They want to cancel Lincoln.
I can never.
I was waiting for it. I'm like,
Why is he locked up, Bill? Why did they lock up Abe?
Let my people go.
Point. Never thought about
I
it that
can
way.
never not look at that
That's
way again. That's some racist shit.
It is.
I
Can I give
can't.
this a shot for America?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think part of the problem that's killing America right now is the tribalism. Is that you're on one side. If you're not on that side, you're evil.
Yeah.
So I try to be fair and I try to be balanced and I try to give credit to what side I think is winning and doing well. The problem we have right now is you have Joe Biden. Like, remember in the movie Naked Gun when the building's burning?
to
It's
see
like,
here.
nothing to see here.
Please.
I think if you can pull that up, anyone that sees what's going on in Joe Biden's America is like, yeah, we're getting a little too woke, a little too gay, a little too crazy, a little too extreme on that side. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. But then you have Trump, who's like, our cities are dying. America's crumbling. The American dream is dead.
Yeah.
I alone can fix it. Where it's like, I don't know. I think we're still kind of where it's at in America. And then, but ultimately, it's the youth. They say, I believe the children, all that fun stuff. But it really is. I would say I would mandate that we have to do the pledge in school at the very least. Okay, and then the national anthem. Look, respect to my black friends out there. There's one national anthem out here. I don't know what the black national anthem is. I don't want a Jewish national anthem. I don't want an Asian national. I don't want Italian. I don't want a bambaleo. I just want the national anthem. and then national service. What percent of Americans are even in touch with what's going on in the military right now? 1%. We have no clue what's going on in the military. He served in the military. You served in the military. We're so disconnected and fragmented from what people are doing to risk their lives.
Good point.
In America right now. We have no clue. And everybody's indoctrinated to go to college, go to college, go to college. College is crumbling. I would encourage young people out there, take 1 year of your life, do a gap year, community service, national service, anything like that. Last piece of thing, anyone who says, it sucks here in America, go to America, set up a fund, one-way tickets to wherever these people want to go. Let's have people who actually have pride in America stay in America. That's my suggestion.
I don't think we should pay for it, but go ahead.
No, I think it's really interesting what you're saying. The military thing is tricky for me. I mean, that is my one regret. I wish I served in some way, shape, or form. I didn't have to do 16 years, but I wish I did something. But some form of national service. But I do think there's a power to our military being voluntary. Like, there's something really beautiful about it. Like, when you're going up against another military and all of them are forced to be there, and our guys are like salivating to get after it. How do you beat that?
You can't.
I don't know how you beat that. Like, they have committed their lives for the opportunity to protect our freedoms. And these other people are like, you better go there, you go to jail. You can't beat us. You can't beat us like that. I mean, maybe you have some hypersonic missile, that's one thing. But when it's like banging on the ground, which I don't even know if that's war anymore, I don't know, man. I think there's something beautiful about that. Now, it's different, obviously. The draft comes around and you got to bring people in. Yeah, the mandate, the Pledge of Allegiance thing. I don't know if that affected my American pride as a kid. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. I'm not sure. But I really do think that curating that identity, and that's not to say we can't shit on it. Yeah, we should shit on it. Families shit on each other. But when some other family's talking shit about you, you're like, yo, watch your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
And it'd be really nice if we brought that back a little bit. Yeah, let's shit on each other. Let's figure out how we can do this a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need some fucking prison reform? Yeah, let's reform it. How can we do it in a more effective way? Do we need some gun control? Maybe, maybe not. Let's discuss it. Let's have those conversations without everything breaking down to what you said, which was, this place sucks. It's decrepit. It's awful. Like, I went to San Francisco, right? A guy shit in a fountain. But besides that, it was nicer than what I thought it was going to be.
Is he a gymnast?
No, not just doing a headstand. No. Listen, they got
visually.
Some problems.
What the hell? How do you got to be like flexible to be like, I'm thinking he's doing one of these
It was a nice
moves.
squat. It was a nice squat. But it was like, listen, there are things that they could fix, and every person in San Francisco agrees. There's no person in San Francisco that's going, man, this is exactly how I want my city to look. So the people are going to decide that, okay, maybe we need a stricter DA. We tried this no rules nonsense or no punishment nonsense, and it didn't work out. And you have to let democracy take place as well. You have to let the people go, hey, we tried this. You know what? It's not that nice. People out there jabbing themselves up. Not that nice. Maybe we'll change. I suspect that will be the change that happens in San Francisco in the very near future, organically. I do believe that.
When Oregon just when they decriminalized all drugs and legalized all drugs, and they turned back and they said, well, you know, not maybe the best decision.
Same thing with the police, right? Like, didn't they? What is it?
Defund the police.
They defund the police.
We got to fund these people.
Yeah, let's fund it up. Yeah.
What the hell's going on in your city, brother? You're New York born and raised.
So,
I'm sure PBD wants to ask you about this.
Tell me, because I see it feels no different.
Really?
But Andrew, where you're in Brooklyn?
No, I live in Manhattan.
Okay, so you're in Manhattan. So I mean, from what we're seeing
talking about the migrant crisis,
just
right?
from the migrant crisis, just from like she deployed 750 troops into the subways to check bags with long rifles, mind you. That's National Guard. That's pretty serious shit.
Yeah.
Who deployed
Coco? Yeah, she did that. I mean, you see what they're doing with the beating up the cops and all that stuff. And I get it. It's not hitting home yet. I think it's starting to we have a video of just in the train station. I mean, this is just New York. I'm from Yonkers, bro. They're in the train station. These guys are fighting. One pulls out a knife, starts stabbing another guy. The guy that pulls out a gun gets the gun taken away, and he's shot in the head. And this is the pandemonium in the subway. So that's the fight started. The guy in the yellow.
What city is that in?
New York.
I think this is in Brooklyn. That guy right there with the yellow,
R-Train.
he has a knife. The black guy on the left has a gun.
Yeah.
They get into a squabble, and then the guy in the yellow takes the gun and shoots him in the head. And this is in New York.
Okay, don't play the shooting.
No. But like, you should look at the pandemonium just in the train station.
But I mean, that's a
Well, what he's saying is, Andrew's saying it's the same.
Yeah, like
so this has always
you
been
grew up
like.
in Yonkers, like, this
but I'm
is-
saying, I get it. But when it comes to the illegals beating the shit out of cops, robbing people, and then they get into jail, and the next day they're out and they're doing this, I have a huge problem with that.
So the New York thing is really interesting because I looked this up a little bit. Okay, so New York is America, I guess, and I didn't even know this. I didn't know you could just walk up to the border and be like, "Yo, I'm seeking asylum." I didn't know.
That's kind of the whole thing.
You don't even have to sneak in. Why would you fucking sneak in? You could just walk up and be like, "Hey, I'm here," and we'll take you in, and then we'll look at your case for like 2 years to decide if it's like a legit asylum case. And in those 2 years, after you're already in, then you could fuck off and go wherever you want, and nobody would ever know where you are. Okay. Not saying that this is something that is like a legal thing to do, but that is another option instead of just like running and trying to jump over a fence, right? Now, New York, I think, is the only big city in the country that has a right to shelter law. And this was developed for our homeless population, not for migrants.
yeah.
So it's a cold city. It's a very wealthy city. The idea that there'd be people sleeping on the street while people are making billions of dollars on Wall Street, it was a little disgusting. And I'm sure it is a little bit liberal leaning. So they were like, let's try to find a way where we can take care of these people. And I think what happened is illegal immigrants or asylum seekers are taking advantage of a law that was not made for them. And that is really starting to swell the system. We were already at capacity, and now you have like, I think 50% more illegals in the city than were in the last year or something like that. And the system, I guess, can't hold it. Now, we don't feel it a lot in New York. It's really hard because like everybody's looks like an immigrant. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's some like all white city and then randomly there's somebody from Sudan there and people go, oh, what the fuck is that? So it's really hard to be like, oh, that's an illegal in New York, right? But that is the problem. And they are taking advantage of something that's not really built for them. And in a lot of ways affecting the homeless population in New York, the people who actually need it. Because homelessness isn't something that exists in perpetuity. It's like some people are all, are down bad for like a year. And the fact that they have shelter, they're able to come back. But those people now can't as easily. So that's why New York is in this kind of tricky situation.
But Schulz, are you saying that you haven't seen anything change? So like we've had Rudy Giuliani on the podcast. Yeah. Obviously he cleaned up the city in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then there was Bloomberg. He overwhelmingly, I think, had a good approval rating. But then after de Blasio, the city collectively has just gone to shit. Perception is reality a lot of times. You might say otherwise different. Now Eric Adams, former police,
in my bubble,
trying to clean it up. Yeah.
I literally could be in my bubble. Like I work 10-minute walk from my place. I get coffee, 3 minutes. Like I'm in this little section of New York that maybe just isn't as affected. That's the reality of the matter. And maybe there are certain areas that are way more affected than others. I know there are like certain hotels that are completely filled, I think, with the asylum seekers. And I guess we're paying for that. And, it's a tricky situation. You know, what do you do? I don't know. I'm all about, yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's not that difficult that when you say something like, hey, listen, Eric Adams, man, the hell with what they're saying on the right. Everybody come on. And when you open your mouth and then now it affects you and now it's like, wait a minute. Y'all got to get the hell out of here. It's too late. The damage has been done.
Eric was actually being a shrewd politician. He was using it to get more funding. So what he did is he said, and this is how the game works, I guess. He goes, listen, we're swollen. We can't handle it anymore. And he goes to the Fed and he goes to the state government. He goes, guys, I can't even recruit a new class of police cadets. I'm sorry, we can't do it. We don't have the money to do it. Mm-hmm. We got to shut down programs in schools. We don't have the money to do it. And what happens? He gets some money, and then none of the shit ever got shut down in the first place.
Yeah, weird.
So he's being shrewd about it too. He's
weird.
Good
fun.
And when you were talking about and Andrew, just to go back a little bit, when we were talking about the pride in America and veteran in the country, my mom and dad, legal immigrants, Pat, legal immigrant, we served, my brother, my sister,
legal,
loser.
Yeah.
But it's just sad because that pride. Only when tragedy happens. Remember 9/11, bro? That week following, people were, I don't give a shit if you were black, white, tall shirt. Nobody gave a shit. It was us against everybody.
I guess here's my question
us
for you.
against the cab drivers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Here's my question for you. How much of it is you defending your city? How much of it is your pride in your city? Where it's kind of like a code, I'm not going to trash my own city. Mm-hmm. How much of it is pride, family, mom, dad, history, what you build? How much of it is the bubble that you're talking about? Maybe I'm the bubble, 10 minutes, walk, I get my coffee, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, so I'm living in this community. How much of it is just, not seeing it, not watching the news to see what's going on with New York City?
I think a lot of it is
the last one?
Not watching the news, being in my bubble, and also coming up in New York in a time where it was like way more dangerous. So now when I see it and it's a fucking Apple store, I'm like, what are these people complaining about? Like when I was younger, like one winter, me and every one of my friends got robbed for our North Face. We all had North Face jackets and every one of us got robbed. So that was just like a rite of passage. So I'm hearing about people getting robbed now, and I'm like, oh, did you get robbed? Oh, did they take something for you? Welcome to the fucking club. It was when we were our middle school. We're 12 years old. Our middle school had to make an announcement and say, please don't wear red to school around Halloween because there's a gang initiation. And if anybody asks you what time it is, do not tell them, because they're going to slice your face with a box cutter.
Jeez.
So that was what they were telling 11 and 12-year-olds. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm not the most alarmist because I grew up at a time where New York was objectively much more dangerous than it is now. Much more. You could get away with shit. There weren't fucking cameras everywhere. So it is a very different time. It could be, by the data, way worse. I haven't experienced it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Got it.
Just like some guy in San Francisco that exists on the marina, that beautiful marina.
Yeah.
They're not going to see the Tenderloin where people are shooting up. They never would go there. They're not getting their groceries there. They'd never even be there. So they're like, oh, everybody's just shitting on San Francisco because we're this liberal city. So when it's not perfect, everybody's going to bag on us the most. There are way more fucking homeless in Los Angeles than there are in San Francisco. It's not even close. There's like a whole city of homelessness in Los Angeles.
There's not even a question. LA is the number one city for that. Yeah, but even in San Francisco, like a couple people whose concerns is where this lady that just got elected, who won the election committee in San Francisco now,
Kelly Wong,
is a Chinese.
Kelly Wong,
who's only been in America for 4 years, and she's doing interviews in Chinese. But she is now sworn in as San Francisco Election Commission. A little concerning, right after the event they did in San Francisco with,
Gavin
she
Newsom,
coming in with Gavin Newsom and cleaning up the streets. But the data, people leaving New York, I wonder, how many friends do you have, people do you have? Because I know you lived here for 4 months, give or take. How many guys do you have that moved to Florida during COVID and they're back to New York?
I don't know. Well, just our crew. Florida is amazing. I think one of the things that happens with New York, though, New York has tons of pride, an immense amount of pride. We love our city. Every time you see it in a movie, it's romantic. Even if the movie's supposed to give you anxiety, it's still sexy. Like you see Uncut Gems, and you're in the Diamond District, and you're like, oh my God, there's life here.
Electricity.
Right? Oh man, this is incredible. Everything about this city is incredible. And so we have a lot of pride. And I think, like, for example, every New Yorker growing
What a weird movie, by the way, Uncut Gems. So go ahead. The way it ended was confusing, but go ahead.
It was, but amazing.
For sure.
Safdie's
It's Adam.
fucking
By the way, he made the most money last year as an actor, $73 million.
Get out of here.
Sandler?
2023, the number one earner was Sandler, $73 million. But go ahead.
So, so I think what happens is New Yorkers, we have so much pride and sometimes when you have so much pride, you don't even, like, we think, okay, how do I put this together? New York, we're like, this is the greatest city in the world, right? I felt that before I ever left New York. So how the fuck would I know, right? The thing about New York is it's surrounded by objectively shitty places. So when you do leave, you're like, yeah, it must be the best. Oh my God, Connecticut? Do you know what I mean? Like, the fuck is in Connecticut, right? You go across the bridge and you're in fucking Hoboken. You're like, yeah, thank God I'm not in Hoboken, right? Everything around it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So it reinforces this idea like, this is the greatest ever. And it is the greatest ever. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of New Yorkers would never even consider, and there is an arrogance, this like coastal elitism. You never even consider moving to a Utah. And then New Yorkers go to Utah and we're like, whoa, trees are cool. Fucking animals are nice. I saw a deer. Deer is beautiful. You ever look at a deer? And then we experience this like calm and we're like existing within nature. And I think a lot of us are really compelled to do that. A lot of my friends who I grew up with leave New York. They leave. It's a hard city to like grow up in and then live in forever. Like if you're not in New York for your business, you're kind of an idiot. Like, if that's where you're making your money or your passion or your art and you need to be there for that, that's where I make my art and I need to be there for that. That makes sense. But if you're working at UPS and you can make the same money living in Denver or living in Florida and pay half the taxes and kids go to a good school, a beautiful neighborhood with a pool and soccer practice and all this other shit, like, I get that. And so I understand what happened during the pandemic where New Yorkers experience a new thing and they're like, oh, I want to check this out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. By the way, it's crazy. I'm looking at it right now. Do you know out of the last Republican governor New York had was Pataki, which was 95 to 07. Yep. Okay. And if you look at the last 4 consecutive Democrats, and if we go from 1975 till today, only one governor has been Republican. Everybody else has been Democrat.
Now, I will say something. New Yorkers don't care about our governors. Like, I don't know who the governor is.
You care about your mayor.
Yeah.
Right.
Because New York is the state. New York City.
Totally get it.
Whoever the mayor is the governor.
You think the mayor has more power than the governor in New York?
We don't know if they do, but we're like, yo,
to you, it's a bigger...
Literally, we're like, yo, Mayor Adams, get that bitch in line, yo. Like, we don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I just found out it was a lady. I had no clue. We had a blind guy governor. Remember that? Remember the blind guy governor?
Yeah.
He replaced somebody else.
David Patterson.
That's how little we give a fuck about the governor.
He didn't even know he was in New York.
He's a Simpson. So it's like
so
we don't
funny.
care about the governor. The governor is meaningless. It's mayor, and then it doesn't matter what happens outside of New York City.
Totally feel that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like that in Miami, too.
If you go there and you go look at New York City mayor from day one, if you go to it and you look at the pot, the only reason I'm saying this is because, so you got what? You got Adams, you got de Blasio, you got Bloomberg, so back to back to back. That's since 2002. Prior to that, Giuliani. Then you had Dinkins.
Koch.
Then you had Koch. Yeah. Then you had Abraham Beam. Then you had John Lindsay. Then you had Robert F. Wagner Jr. By the way, everything I said to you except for Giuliani has been the left. Okay? Yeah. Everything except for Giuliani. And prior to that, it was LaGuardia, which was 12 years Republican, right? Policies. It's Trump actually is thinking that he could win New York. Very weird to think about that.
I don't think it's New Yorkers. This is a financial hub. Like we're liberal in that we think gays make cool shit. That's it. We're not liberal in terms of our financial policy.
They don't go to heaven, though.
Listen. You guys decided that. No, you guys. Yeah, the Jews
Yeah,
made
they
that one
moved
a
Jews.
long time ago. That Old
us,
Testament.
guys.
That Old Testament is rough. Rough for the gays, the Old Testament.
Have you read the Quran?
Listen, yeah, but that's later. They working off of your source material.
That's right. The Old Testament started it all, baby.
I'm just saying.
Y'all ripping our stuff.
That's
the
it.
Christians, the Muslims.
Exactly.
Thanks. Shout out to Moses out there.
But the Christians mix it up in the coolest way. That's what I love about the Christians.
But why do you like the gays so much in New York?
Because they just make dope shit.
Like what?
I don't know. Like when you're not trying to fuck pussy all the time, like you can just create cool stuff.
That's my problem.
Do you know what I mean? Like they make cool. Exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like a gay guy wouldn't wear that outfit.
No, like, ew.
You know what I mean?
Ew.
A gay guy would never do that. They put in some fashion-y thing together, you know? They make some beautiful theater piece. And there's some great art, dancing. Like they do make dope shit. Like if you're in New York. So we love their contributions to our society and culture, right? It's really important to us. And it's important that they're able to flourish because we enjoy the things that they create, right? You're not going to go to musical theater without gays. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You taking your kids to fucking Harry Potter the musical? There's some queens in that shit. You know, frolicking the fuck around. No straight guy goes, I can't wait to be in Harry Potter the fucking musical, right? It's not possible. So we like it, but outside of that, we're like a money city. You know, this is the financial hub of the world. So we're not going to have some guy coming in here who's going to clip us in the balls and our ability to make money. We know what we're after. And so I think that's why the Republicans can thrive.
More importantly, what's going on with this, the P. Diddy and Meek Mill and all these guys? So what is that all about?
It's deep, bro.
Diddy might be out of here, huh? I think Diddy's out of here.
Meaning like jail?
Jail would be crazy, but I think like career-wise.
Canceled officially. Done.
Yeah, I think it's over.
I think there's a difference between being canceled and
being a criminal.
Yeah, it's a big difference, right? Because I don't know if R. Kelly got canceled.
Yeah. They keep canceling me for raping.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. And I'm tired of
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm tired of people going.
I don't think it's canceling.
People keep going like, there's smoke and there's fire. No, the house is burnt down, bro. Diddy is that guy.
Yeah,
like everybody from Cassidy to the stories to the guy that just did the, you know, he went to court and he's suing him and Lil Rod. And it's like, bro, there's a lot of information out there that's not good from his security guy that was Michael Jackson's security, that was the first guy in the scene when Mike died, to allegedly they're saying Diddy shot some dude and left and they just basically clean it up for him. It's like, bro, there's a lot of nefarious. How much gay stuff is going to come out with Diddy and Meek Mills? And bro, it's so crazy too. You guys know this. The moment somebody's like, man, he's done some gay stuff. From that moment on, every time you see a video and they just turn, you're like, oh, he's gay. He's gay, dude. You see
Schulz, what are the actual facts of the story? Like, you've done some content on this. What do you actually know about
that much. I just know that there's like a lot of accusations. There's some, I guess, Me Too-esque stuff. Obviously, there's stuff with Cassie, maybe other people coming out. And but that being said, I think he just won a lawsuit with his like liquor company. So that he was at a, I don't know if that's even public, but rumors on the street he just won
he settles racism lawsuit against.
Yeah, it might be even for like a couple billion or something like that.
Oh, shit.
So he basically just got to stay out of jail. And then he can go off into the sunset.
Well, he settled with Cassie in like a minute, and that was his girl for like a decade or so.
I don't know if he settled with her in a minute. Like, in order for that information to hit the blogs, they're probably going back and forth for a while, and then he's not paying.
And she's like, I'm talking.
Well, I'm going to talk. And then they're like, no, you're not.
Okay.
And then she did, and now
30 million.
Yeah.
Just to be like, shh.
Within 24 hours.
Wow.
After she went public.
Wow.
Not even 24 hours. And then she came back and she said, we were able to settle things out, or I don't know what the words was she used. But, you know, I'm all these other things that's going on with the guys and Meek Mill. Who called them out, by the way? Forget about Tate, but which rapper was it that went after... is it 50 that he has a problem? Who's the person that always goes after?
Well, 50 is always going after. 50 is the man. But 50 is, and if you're on 50's bad side, bro, God bless you, man. May God protect you because he is not letting that foot off your neck ever.
Yeah, with Floyd,
Ever.
Ja Rule, Floyd Mayweather, he does not play games, bro.
Also, one of the most charismatic dudes I've ever met.
No shit. So 50's developing a documentary on Diddy allegations, vows to donate proceeds.
Wow.
Sexual assault. Can you hold it? When is this?
Dude, this guy's a troll.
No, he is unstoppable, man.
Yo.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy. I remember when he was doing the stuff with Mayweather. It's like, here, put the alphabet. I want him to read a book line.
One page from a Harry Potter book.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll donate 500,000.
And
these are both New
They were
Yorkers.
best friends, though. They were best friends, too. Like,
What was
really
the falling
close.
out?
Like, that's his business, man. I'll let him explain that to you. But, like, they were really close. So that's, I think,
is it a public story or no?
I don't know exactly. I don't know. I know he talked to me about something, but I let him share his business.
Yeah. To me, there's a part about 50 that gives me a man's man vibe.
Bro, he is.
That's the vibe I get from him. And even the way he edifies Eminem. You just gotta love the way he edifies Eminem.
Just a lot of respect. A loyal dude who really understands people from a young age. From a very young age, understood social dynamics. Like he told me, he was like, yeah, when I was like 12 or 13, I was raised by like old heads and I was just observing them. You don't get to talk a lot when you're with the old dudes. You're just kind of watching the power dynamics, watch how things work. Man, he told me some crazy story. I don't know if I can share, but I don't think he would be upset. He told me some story about like, when he first got out of prison or something like that. Like he had like a crew of guys, and he went from being the dude, on the block to potentially being lower now because other dudes rise when you get locked up. But he still had his crew, so he was getting paid whatever he was getting paid to be part of the organization. And he said in the beginning, he started taking all the money that he was making, all the money that he was getting paid, not in the beginning, after he got out, and he would pay it to his guys so his guys wouldn't think that he wasn't still the man. So he's making zero, right? But his guys, he still needed them to realize, he still got it like that. And he just understood at a very like basic primal human level what he needed to maintain the loyalty, the hierarchy, and the power position. And I'm like, you're like 17 at this fucking time? How the fuck do you understand that? So it's no surprise to me when I see him thriving in these different industries, but also like not at all sacrificing who he is. Like he's still a wild dude on the internet and in Hollywood producing films. Like he can really kind of say whatever he wants. It's quite impressive. I told him the first time I saw him, I was like, bro, what do you have on all these dudes in Hollywood?
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I don't even know what you talk about.
Yeah.
Dude, he's that guy.
But listen, to me, it stops with Diddy at the Tupac story. That's where it stops for me because you go down the rabbit hole and you're just curious about a topic and a story. You keep going down, and then you bring detectives and you're talking to guys that were involved, and eventually like, yeah, no. And I was a kid, 2 days, 3 days, I would say, in high school was like days that I was startled, confused, in pain, hurt. Magic getting AIDS when he came out and did the HIV positive interview.
Yeah.
It was Michael retiring and he's stepping away from the game, and it was Tupac getting killed.
Yeah.
Those 3 days were the days where it's like, as a kid, you follow those stories. And I think, I don't know, a lot of people have Diddy's influence behind Tupac and Biggie, but I'm convinced guys like 50 probably have. I'm convinced the people that have the actual facts and influence on who was behind it, but for whatever reason, they're not coming out.
That's the thing I always say. I was like, listen, if 50 don't like you, there's a reason. If 50 is out here not liking you, there is a fucking reason.
He's not just waking up going, to hell with this guy.
Yeah. Like,
well, you saw that. You know what I mean? And by the way, and you saw the interview where they're interviewing 50, and he's like, it's a podcast, and he's like, This dude during a podcast with 50 and Diddy was like, yeah, daddy, let's go shopping. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not going to let another man take me shopping.
What are you fucking talking about? And like, he just doesn't play these games. He just is upfront and honest, and he doesn't play. But that's a really good point.
50 don't like you, man.
There's something
I'm looking into it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking into it.
Is this it? Is this when he said that?
Yeah.
I looked at him like, what you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're going to make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of No, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
I asked 50 about that. And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah. I thought he needed some clothes. He told me to take.
Yeah, no, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah, that's a good response. Though.
Yeah, no, here's the
Well, Schulz, someone that made a cameo in that video right there was your guy Charlamagne. I know you've done a ton of content with him. I think you guys did some content recently when you asked him about the Diddy allegations.
Yeah.
How'd that conversation go with Charlamagne? What are your thoughts on him?
Oh, I mean, Charlamagne's the GOAT, man. Charlamagne is the motherfucking GOAT. We've been doing Brilliant Idiots, a podcast, for over like 10 years now, maybe 11, 12, I don't even know. But yeah, he's just the man. He's just the man. To be able to like maintain, being at the top is hard. And to maintain your spot at the top for over a decade. Oh no, even longer. I forget exactly how long Breakfast Club's been doing. And people don't even realize, like, growing up in New York, when we were growing up, it was Hot 97 was like,
man.
This is all everybody listened to. So he comes in, some guy from fucking South Carolina comes in and goes on the competing network that's not even competing. It would be like, what is the minor league team for the Yankees, the one that plays in Staten Island or whatever?
Nobody even knows.
There's the team there's like the AAA team, whatever. It would be if that team ends up replacing the
Scranton
Yankees.
Wilkes-Barre Rail Raiders, Riders,
Some shit. Who knows? Whatever the
like
fuck
that's
it is.
literally how much of a leap they made.
It was, and now Hot 97 is obsolete.
Straight up.
And I mean, you look at like what's the fact that you guys don't even know it. Like, this was the fucking radio
Hot 97 every day. That's my word. Come on, bro.
yeah.
Who was it? Who was the?
Everybody and their mother was
Funkmaster
on
Flex, Angie Martinez, Star and Buck Wild. I mean, it was just,
and they would have like Jay-Z. Everybody would go in there, promote, talk, crap, drop with that whole beef. It was insane.
unbelievable,
And the
the
music that
energy
they
around
played
it.
was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
They played all the hot stuff.
So in LA, that would have been Power 106.
Yeah.
Power
Yeah.
106. Yeah.
Are they still as relevant as they were? Or
not even. It's not even. They're not even in the conversation.
wow.
And that's just Charlamagne.
Charlamagne's doing. You're saying
Headshots, all of them. One guy.
Headshots, all
One guy.
What
comes in.
what makes him special? What is his?
He's just the smartest guy in the room, and doesn't act like it, but he is, and he's just naturally hilarious. But he can also write. So like he can write funny shit and be funny off the cuff. A lot of times people can be funny off the cuff, but like them putting together like down and like writing prose might be difficult.
Yeah.
And like, but he'll do the Donkey of the Days. You've seen the Donkey of the Days.
Yeah, of
He'll
course.
Like, if he wants, he'll just write the whole thing out, or he'll just kind of riff it. But he also is just really in tune with culture, and he just knows how to like mess with people, plant seeds, harvest them later. He's that good. He's elite at it. And he just came into a new market and fucking haymakers, dude. And it's radio is not a game. Radio's. I mean, he was like attacked, like it's like physical violence comes
It was a
from it.
Little Kim thing, though, right? When he said something.
Maybe
about
somebody
Little
punched
Kim,
him in
and
the
a couple
suckered him in the
guys
street, and they started
you
running.
can't say that about Little Kim.
Something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but they chased him. It was wild shit.
He's a loved and hated guy, right? He's a guy that's loved and hated, but that's probably part of his.
You want passionate
game.
reactions,
Right?
Yeah. You don't want lukewarm reactions.
No.
You want
But how much of it? Because I've obviously we follow him, we talk about him. I'm not gonna lie, I've been critical about him. 'Cause I think how much of it though, Andrew, is like because he pushes.
He'd
There's
be
a
cool
narrative.
with that, by the way. He would be cool with that.
I guess. Oh, but and I'd go back and forth with him live in front of his face.
Yeah.
I think a lot. Sometimes though, the rhetoric of the systemic racism and and I get it, the anti-Trump, and I think a lot of that, if it is an act, so to speak, to push people, I think it does more harm than good when you're trying to make people, like we're talking about how dope America is. For somebody that's as successful as he is, as a black dude that even wrote a book, I forgot what it was. Like you saying that this country is so bad and so how did you do it?
Yeah.
Did you slip through the cracks?
Yeah.
And everybody else is screwed, but you're the man to do it. And I get it. I get people, because bro, that shit sells. The Colin Kaepernick angle of, okay, I don't got a job anymore. I'm not that nasty in football anymore. Guess what? Everybody's racist.
Yeah.
You're racist. Hey, mom and dad, you're racist. You're the white parents that adopted him. Y'all racist because I'm trying to sell a book. I think sometimes when it comes to that type of rhetoric, I think it does more harm than good instead of.
I hear you 100%. Like, but I would also say like Charlamagne's been very critical of Cap. You know,
I've seen him
and and very critical of the Biden administration. Like, I see Charlamagne pop up on my Fox News feed more than any other commentator. And it's just because he's the only one that's on the left keeping it real with Biden. Like, he's going, first of all, he called out Kamala live on his show.
I remember that.
So it's like, there's a lot, it's very easy to just like, not saying you're doing this, but there are people that like handpick things that he's saying about Trump as if he's not saying way more about Biden, which is, the Democratic Party is his party. He's more critical of his party.
Yeah.
He's not just being alarmist about Trump. He don't fuck with Trump. But you cannot fuck with people.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But what I respect is instead of turning a blind eye to the Democrats, he holds the fire to them while he's also saying, hey, this guy, because he really thinks Trump is going to be like a tyrannical dictator.
Just like Robert De Niro talking about, they're going to come after me.
Yeah, but De Niro, with all due respect, is like an actor. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's Hollywood at this point. He has to sing the narrative.
Maybe it's Holly, maybe it's not. But he's also like, actors.
But you genuinely believe that, does Charlamagne genuinely believe that Trump is going to be a dictator? Because
Charlamagne's from South Carolina. Like, you have to understand, he's probably more conservative. Like, Tim Scott is his boy. Like, he's friends with all these guys. Like, he's friends with these politicians. Nancy Grace came to my birthday party. Do you know who Nancy Grace is? She's like, just randomly, this woman walks in, and I'm like, aren't you the UFO chick? Like, what the fuck is going on? So, like, he's interfacing. No, is that her? No, not Nancy Grace. Who's the UFO one that's Nancy?
Nancy Grace used to be on CNN or.
No,
she's the one when the people are kidnapped.
She's a congresswoman that, like.
Mace?
Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace.
Mace.
She was just on Bill Maher. Nancy Mace.
Yeah, so it's like, he's like interfacing with all these people, but he's such a high-profile figure that if he says anything critical about Trump, or if he speaks about the importance of diversity and the importance or how systemically racist America is, I think a lot of times there's this spotlight specifically on that. But you can speak about those things.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you should also, if you're really passionate about that. And you're going to be way more passionate about it than I am, because it affects me less than it affects you. So I get why you're talking about it. I'm still going to make him a Republican.
Good.
You know what
You're gonna make Charlamagne a Republican.
I don't think I'm a Republican, but I'm going to make Charlamagne. But no. But yeah, I think he's put it this way: like, him being that critical of the Democratic Party is way more of a risk for him. Like, he can't. That hurts him way more, especially within his followers, than him saying that systemic racism is there.
Well, Schulz, famously, Black America knows who Charlamagne the God is. They know the Black Club. White America did not know who this dude is until Joe Biden literally said to his face, well, if you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black.
Right?
And he didn't say
popped
off.
Fire.
So, and I've seen him be critical of Trump for sure, and even Biden. He called out Kamala to her face. But now you're seeing the polls. I think historically blacks have voted for the Democratic Party 85, 90%.
Blacks are fucking with Trump now, huh?
Yeah.
But it's starting to.
Kodak Black just said they'll vote for him for 20
starting
years.
to crack. I mean,
It always starts in Florida. Whatever happens in Florida eventually just makes its way to the
when
rest
Kodak
of America.
Black and Lil Pump are voting, they got the movement right there. I mean, that's just right there. But how much pull do you think?
I'll be honest. I think the reason why people, non-whites in Florida, feel so much more comfortable voting for Trump or Republicans, they feel less scrutiny than, let's say, like up in New York, is because you have a immigrant population or descendants of immigrants that come from, like, for example, Cubans that are coming from like communism, and they're terrified of liberal policies because they feel like it's going to lead to the communism. So now you have people of color that are already staunch Republicans. So other people of color go, oh, I guess it's okay to like adopt this ideology. Where in New York, the idea of being a person of color and being a Republican, you were kind of viewed, at least when I was growing up, a little bit more of like a sellout. And now I think that that's changing. I think that's important that it changes.
I think this guy named 50 Cent, who apparently whoever he doesn't like, you have to kind of investigate, right? Some poet said that once. But 50 may vote Trump. And if 50 votes Trump, it's going to be very weird if he's out there. Because he said that, right? And then somebody came back and said something, and he had to correct himself. I think it was Mayor Adams with the whole $53 million. Why do I have to pay $53 million credit card to these illegal immigrants? Yet this may be a season for me to vote for Trump. I had a conversation with Mayor Adams, and we'll see if they're going to figure it out. Now I got to find out why Hochul's not doing this. So he kind of Adams almost threw Hochul under the bus.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk to Hochul. So is there always that mayor-governor competition in New York going on?
I think he's just leveraging it for more funds, man. She got the checkbook, and he got to find a way to get the check.
50's got, it's going to be, how crazy you think things are going to get between now and November? Like how crazy you think it's going to get?
It's going to get fun. It's going to get fun. What do you think the talking points are? It's going to be immigration. I think abortion's kind of done. I think the Republicans realize that, like, I think Republicans realize, like, oh shit, there's a lot of Republicans that kind of like are okay with abortion, so we should quiet about this one right here, because I think they thought they were going to get that red wave.
Red wave didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
You're right.
So I think they moved off of that, and now I think it's immigration. What else? China, definitely with TikTok.
Economy.
Yeah.
And then economy. And the tricky thing with the economy is like, I don't know, how many $1 trillion did we print? $2 trillion during COVID?
More than that.
Was it
I think 4.4 trillion
Since
in total.
2020 to today, we're printing around $4.5 trillion.
Okay. And then inflation is up what?
3.4. It's almost 4, Adam. Did it drop down to 3 something?
Well, if you believe the numbers, it's
numbers
at
came out saying at the
3.5%.
peak, the real inflation number was 18.8, and they're saying the real numbers today is 10.8. But that's what charts came up right now.
I mean,
Okay, so
3.1,
let's say
3.2.
let's go over 18 or 10.
Okay.
Printing $4 trillion for a 10% loss in money seems pretty good. No? It's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not so bad.
are you fucking kidding me? Like $4 trillion got printed, and we lost 10% of the value? Something good happened. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know when we're going to pay for it. Maybe we're peeing on ourselves. It's warm now. Eventually we run out of pee, and it's going to get really fucking cold and uncomfortable. But this idea that the current economy is destroyed, I don't know if I 100% subscribe to. Stock market up. Yes, there are grocery items that are very expensive and people cannot eat. I'm not trying to have a lack of empathy for that. I have all the empathy in the world for that. What I'm trying to say is any other government in the world that prints $4.4 trillion falls apart overnight. Argentina does it. There's no fucking cash in the ATMs. It is a problem. I guess we got to give some credit where credit is due. I don't know what type of financial instruments are at play here, but that is a pretty remarkable feat, no?
But this is why Biden is an absolute moron, because if Trump had
I'm a
this
moron.
economy right now, he'd be shouting from the news. This is why Trump is a great marketer.
Sure.
The best economy ever. Stock market 25%. Inflation's down to all-time lows. Unemployment all-time.
Yeah,
Biden's talking about shrinkflation and that you don't have enough Snickers
Democrats
and
don't
Doritos.
understand.
His messaging is horrible.
Democrats
Trump
don't
would be
understand marketing. They don't understand marketing.
Trump would be shouting at the rooftops how great the economy right now. Universally known, United States has bounced back from any major economy in the world
it did
better
do
than
good.
any economy since COVID.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, so
we
then
bounced back.
here's a moment of pride. Like, here's a moment for where instead of having this like bickering infighting and focusing on how horrible things are, we can go, look how fucking resilient the greatest economy in history is that we were able to bounce back from something that should have absolutely tanked and crippled any other country in the world. And we fucking did it. Are there still some struggles? Yes. Do we still have some bumps and bruises? Yeah. But look at this fucking machine that we built.
Got to be careful with it, though, man.
Talk to me.
Even when,
what am I missing? Because I know nothing. I'm financially literate.
Even when Trump did it, I was not. Because remember when Andrew Yang was running and he was talking about the, UBI, Universal Basic Income, and hey, we're going to give everybody $1,000 a month, and we tested it out in Alaska, and he went through all these other places that they did this with. Yeah. Anything from that standpoint where money's going to be printed and sent to people, you're going to teach the wrong habits to people. They're going to be sitting around waiting for it. But sometimes the pain you don't see for a while. Like when you're talking about the whole peeing thing, you don't see it for a while, right? It's warm. You're comfortable. You're outside like, man, I'm going to warm myself up real quick. And then 30 minutes later, you're like, hey, man, can I borrow your pants, bro? I'm freezing my ass off, right?
Or pee on me.
No. Or can you pee on me?
Yeah, pee on me because I'm getting cold.
Because I need more. So the point there becomes the way to fix it is you're delaying the time bomb and a problem. I wasn't for low interest rate, 0% or whatever we had for as long as we went 128-month expansion. I wasn't for printing of the money. I don't think mortgage rates need to be 3%. I think a good place for us to stay for a while is 6, 7, 8%.
Oh, wow.
To make that a tradition for a few years. I think we even need to go higher to say anybody buying a house, no more 100% financing. I think it's got to be minimum 25%, 20% financing. Now, if you do that, valuation of my properties drops. But I think that's the responsible thing for us to do moving forward. I don't think we're going the right direction when it comes down to finances, and that's left and right. Easiest way, I'm reading a book, and one of the things that we never talk about, is our the rules and laws that we have. Like, for example, there are countries like Philippines and other places in the world that 90% of the homes people live in, nobody owns. Because it takes so long to document the fact that that's your house.
The bureaucracy.
So you're talking about like, hey, I want to start a business. Takes 2.5 years to even get the DBA to become incorporated, or in America, boom, 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 boom.
Online.
So the speed of competing with our way of getting things registered and then tracking them, those things, we don't think how effective that whole concept is. The structure is, the infrastructure is. So that can probably withstand more, right? Like if you're fully taking care of 19 out of 20 metrics of your health in an incredible way, in the one way you're not taking care of it, that one way cannot do anything to the other 19 dramatically. But then if gradually go to 18, 17, 16, I think printing of the money, immediate solution at any point right now that if you want to win an election, it's a very easy way of saying it. We're going to pay off your college tuition. We're going to do this. We're going to, oh my God, what a great guy. Fastest way to get elected. Doesn't necessarily make it the best policy long term.
I think you're right. I guess, that makes most sense. You said something right there that I think was really important though. You were like, I think that interest rates should be 6, 7%, maybe even 9, 10%. And you go, I understand that maybe my home goes down in value, but that's the best thing for the country. That's putting the country or your identity or your values ahead of profit. And that is the identity that if we could all subscribe to, then we could be protected from manipulation from abroad. If you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
That is the power of having like a moral compass. And I don't know if that comes from religion. I don't know if it comes from like family. I don't know, whatever it comes from. Maybe it's a collection of all of them. But like that moral compass allows us to go, okay, we're going to sacrifice a little bit right now for the greater good. And that is going to protect us all in the long term. And it's not like a government enforced.
Yeah. So
that's where it gets a little fucked because it's like the government goes, you must give me 10% more of your money. You're basically going, no, I'm willing to give 10%. How do you get people to do that? How do you get people to submit?
So check this out. I mean, when you think about 1962 and a half, okay, when you think about two companies, can you go find out when Walmart was founded? Walmart was founded 1962 and a half, yep. And go look at when Kmart was founded. I think Kmart is also 1962 and a half. Kmart was founded when? Which company is it that Kmart is $18.99.
Damn.
What is the one that? Okay, so check this out. Let's go with Kmart. Let's go with Kmart against Walmart. In 1962, Walmart gets started. Kmart already has 250 locations. Okay, Walmart has nothing. Fast forward 5 years later, Walmart only has 9 locations. Kmart's nearing 300 locations. Okay, Kmart against Walmart. Fast forward to today. Kmart was a behemoth. That's the super discount store in 1962. Because the original company was different than the 1962 year. 1962 was when everything with the super saving centers came out. Target, Walmart, Kmart. And where you buy a lot of shit and it's discounted versus the smaller ones, right? And at the head, who takes the lead? Kmart takes the lead. Yeah, Kmart, Walmart, the discount store class of 1962. Kmart takes the lead. Walmart, 5 years later, 9 stores. Kmart, money, 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 money. Fast forward to today, Kmart. When did Kmart file bankruptcy? Can you find out when Kmart filed bankruptcy? Can you go to when did Kmart file bankruptcy? What year was it?
I guess. It was kind of recent.
Guys, do you remember everywhere? 2002,
Yeah.
Kmart filed
I was gonna say
bankruptcy,
90.
right?
20 years ago.
Do you remember everything was Kmart?
Everything.
Do you know how many employees Walmart has today? 2.5 million people. Do you know Walmart, the Sam Walton had 3 kids, okay? Do you know what his poorest kid is worth? $74 billion.
Jeez.
Billion?
Yeah. Type in
All
Walton.
the Waltons are worth
All the
Type
Waltons.
in,
70 billion
type in
plus.
poorest Walton child.
Yeah.
Poorest Walton kid is worth $74 billion. Can you put in just Walton family net worth? Walton family
And you
net
don't know
worth.
what they look like. That's the
Walton-
best. You have no idea. They could be in the room
family
right
net
now. like-
worth, 267 billion combined
God,
is the family. Okay, so when you think about these guys on what, and by the way, all their net worth is around 74, 75, 76. So, but what do you think about? What did Walmart do? He was a long-term thinker, and they weren't trying to accelerate. I had a guy over at the house 2 days ago. And we're having this meeting, pretty heavyweight guy that in the media space, he's known, technology space, he's known. And we're talking about different media companies because we think right now is a great time to disrupt. And he wants to know what my strategy is. And I'm kind of going through with him and I'm telling them story. I'm like, I'm watching everybody. I'm watching everyone's case study, what they're doing, what this guy's doing, what that guy's doing, where they're wasting money. They're paying a lot of talent money right now. Look at Spotify. They paid a lot of money to Bruce Springsteen and Obama. Can you imagine what 2 names are bigger than music and politics than Obama and Springsteen? Year later, you cancel that. What last name is the most powerful last name with the most followership on Instagram? Kardashian. Year later, you cancel that. You got all of these people that go there and you keep one guy. And you pay that guy $250 million. Why? Because that guy is actually bringing numbers, right? So many people in the media space overpaid. Now they're like, how do we get return on our money? We're capped out, right? Versus actually philosophy. I think as Americans, we need to not fall for the trap of free college this, free that, free this. If we do, long term. But the reality is when you say people vote with their pockets and 90% of the people do. All of us, we look at the policies that benefits us. We look at that. But I think at this point right now where we are with all this money being printed, economy looks better. It looks fancy. It looks sexy on the outside.
But
yeah, there is the big but.
And just
when
go.
does the but sorry.
No, go, Andrew, please.
When does the but happen?
When does the but happen? We had this conversation with, was it with you? No, I had it with Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu, very interesting interviewer. I really like his stuff. We had a very good conversation together when I was in L.A. Guy built $1 billion company, by the way, and he's got a YouTube channel with a few million subscribers. Very, very good at what he does. Him and his wife. By the way, their media company is on the first floor of their some $20 million house on the hills of Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Sick. Wow. And it's a sick house, right? And we're having this conversation. He says, I said, to fix this mindset is going to take 20 years. He says, but do you think we can do that in the American system since the president is only 4 and 8 years because it's constantly going to be changing? It's not an easy thing to do, right, with our current system because Trump comes in 4 years.
Hopefully, God.
His policies are choking Iran. Iran's about to topple and, things are going to change. Then the next administration comes in. Economy's growing. Then manipulation with China comes in, with Wuhan lab. There's no way this comes from the lab and all this stuff. it's way, way, way too divisive and divided right now politically. And I don't know, even yesterday, Trump said something about DeSantis. You've already beaten DeSantis, and you're bragging about, how bad you want to, how you put him out of business. Yeah, play it from like the 30-second mark or the 20-second mark. Maybe go a little bit back there. Play this clip. You're not getting it? Yeah, anyways, he's calling out the way, you killing DeSantis before he even gets into the competition. You first...
Here it is right here, Rob.
Paid advisors. Sir, you shouldn't talk to them about that. One of the people said, are you going to run against the president? He said, I have no comment. To me, that meant he's running. So I hit him hard. I hit him low. I hit him high, just like we did to ISIS. We hit him hard. We hit him low. We hit him high. We hit him in the middle. We hit him from on top, and he even came under the ground. We hit this guy so hard, by the time he announced, nobody knew what the hell happened. They said, what happened to him? He's a shell of the man. We had...
he's just a shit.
Schulz, do you think he's, from a comedian standpoint, funny? Meaning he's a brilliant marketer. He's a great speaker.
Yeah, I think he's really funny.
Do you actually think he's genuinely funny?
Yeah, and he's just a great cadence. Like his voice is, no one talks like him.
Nobody ever.
And his rhythm, nobody has.
Yeah.
So he's just like a really unique speaker. And it's fun because the sentence never really finishes or starts. It just kind of flows into
one run-on
sentence. But did you see the compliment he gave to Biden yesterday?
What he said?
Can you play the compliment, Rob?
Oh,
this is the best.
probably one of the best.
Yeah, play this clip
Biden
here.
should be watching this.
Telling you, he's the worst president we've ever had and the most incompetent president we've ever had. And he's also the most crooked president we have ever had. Now, other than that, I think he's doing an excellent job. Can we agree?
Adam, to answer your question, that's comedy.
Well, he's
bro.
Don Rickles to me.
Yeah, but
it's what type of insult comedy? That was basically
but the fact
Don
that like
Rickles
Americans can't on the left, they can't he's supposed to be presidential. It's like, bro, it's Donald
the
Trump.
left finds him funny. They just won't admit it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the left finds it funny.
So,
if you're a human, you'll
yeah. So just going back from what we were talking about the when you said it's going to be interesting and crazy, right? This 2024. So for argument's sake, for if it is Biden and him, I think Trump on a landslide from the no wars in Palestine, the Russia-Ukraine, China doing what it's doing, the borders, illegals. Like, remember when he went up against Hillary, he brought all of Bill's victims up there.
That was savage.
That was a beast move.
Savage thing.
Ridiculous. I think now
Bill's never recovered from
with
that.
Lake and Riley and all these people that have been getting murdered and raped, these young girls. I'm pretty sure he's going to bring them up. Do you think it's because he's bet Tom and we have a bunch of stuff going on? Do you think, Andrew, from your heart of hearts, is it going to come down to this dude? They're going to inject Biden. He'll try to make it through these debates, or do you think? DNC convention, they're going to do a switcheroo. Somebody else is going to come in, a Newsom, or what? What do you think is going to... If you had to bet, do you think it's going to be Biden, or do you think it's going to be some other surprise?
I think Biden runs.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Biden runs. Yeah, I think... Yeah, I don't know why he would want to. I mean, he did it. He fulfilled the career politician objective, right? He dedicated himself to the brand for, 50 years, 70 years, however fucking long he's been president. And then he got to be president. You did it. Check out, right?
Yeah.
You're 80-something years old. Just enjoy your life. But, yeah, I think he runs, and I think Trump beats him. I think Trump beats him. I think, Trump has become much more likable. And this is how Trump can win things. He's a good winner. He's not as good a leader as he is a winner. He can win because he's a great insult comic, right? He can point out why these things are horrible or these guys are bad. But leading is not that. Leading isn't being the insult guy. Leading is getting everybody on board, committed to the same task, and then taking them to the finish line. And I think that's what he kind of struggled with when he was president. He was like, okay, well, who do I make fun of? Who do I call short? Who do I call fat? What's going on? And we're like, no, you don't have to do that. You're in charge. Just tell us where we're going to go. Take us to the promised land, dude. And
right there, you already beat DeSantis. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
You've already beaten him.
But that's what he knows how to do, and that's what works.
Totally get it. But if he, here's what I'd love to see. But first of all, I think I think it's not even a question whose policies produce better results and a better America. At this point, we have case study. It's not like it's hidden. Maybe somebody could have guessed it in 2016 and said Biden would be a better president than Trump, and we would have said what? Maybe you're right. We don't know. Now we know. There is no more like put the four, like the LeBron James Michael debate. Yeah. You can put it in so many different perspectives. It's Michael, right? It's we don't need to have that conversation. New Age does. We can have the facts to back it up. That's why nobody ever said Kareem was the greatest of all time, and Kareem had a lot of amazing stats, and nobody ever said Oscar Robertson was the greatest of all time. He had the triple-double 2 seasons or whatever it was that he had, right?
Isn't it funny that the only people saying LeBron are better never watched Michael Jordan play basketball?
Yeah. Weird.
By the way, did you see the
weird?
You know what's the craziest thing? They ran a poll of current NBA players
because they didn't watch Michael play. They're all kids.
No. Rob, did you see this? They ran a poll of current NBA players. Who's the greatest basketball player of all time? Do you know what the poll turned out to be?
What?
Steph
Michael
Curry?
by a mile.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Current active players.
Current
Players.
players. Yeah, of course.
Check this out. In an anonymous study by the Atlantic survey, 103 current NBA players, results found that the vast majority, 58.3, found Michael Jordan as the greatest, LeBron 33, Kobe was third at 6.8.
Yeah.
Current. These
Makes
are current.
sense.
Wow.
So anyways, but going back to this, now that we have the data and you have case study of both of them, put them together.
Yeah.
It's the score is you win by 3 touchdowns. Like you put 28-7, you win by 3 touchdowns. And I'm being friendly here because of all the fear, and Jews are actually thinking about leaving the Democratic Party to vote for Republicans. Can you imagine how weird that is? That's
they're gone.
Yeah, that is a
They're gone.
very, very weird. And by the way, when he says they're gone, and he'll say, yeah, but it's not a big deal. We're a small community. You ain't got a small influence, bro. Your influence is a very different kind of influence. The documentaries and movies that are going to come out the next 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years, they're going to document how this thing was handled at this era. Anyways, Trump is most likely going to win, minus the October surprise, and there's going to be a September surprise, and there's going to be a August surprise. You get the idea. There's going to be a lot of surprises that they're going to get. But I think he has the concept of redemption to try to unify. He's got strong enough of a personality to be able to do that this time around, because even the haters, some of them that were haters that would have never voted, like that one video I saw the other day, I think it was MSNBC, when it's a husband and wife, a black family.
I sent it to him right now.
Oh, do you have it? Where?
That's so sick that I sent it to him like 2 minutes ago. The BET host is like, so who you voting for? The husband's pro-Trump, and the wife.
Oh, that's the one. That's
it's actually a great progression.
Yeah,
this is. I'm so
and
happy
then what the
about that
wife says at the end.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, I love it,
this.
man. This is crazy. So look at the host. The host doesn't know what the hell's going on.
It's too long, Rob. You can't show the whole
just
thing.
Just the beginning. I think it's the part.
Donald Trump.
Who you voting for? Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
That's who you voted. Yeah.
2020.
Donald Trump.
Biden. And who will you vote for in 2024?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Wow. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
she asked her why.
So the point is, people are coming to this side. But so all I'm saying is that you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Sometimes, like when I'm in sports, when you play and you're younger, sometimes kids come out the game timid, right? And then when you're a professional player, you come out and you kind of know what you're doing. But then the famous saying is what? Let the game come to you. He doesn't need to play like the way he played in 2016.
Who, Trump?
Yeah, he doesn't need to do that. Dude, just you're gonna win. Mm-hmm. But the way you're playing,
lead us.
Yeah, you have a shot
just
at doing
lead us,
that.
man.
Yeah.
And listen, there's a version of it where he can do that effectively. He's led companies for the majority of his life. Let's see. But I think it's got to be lead us. Instill that American exceptionalism. Get us excited. Still be funny. Still be funny. We want you to be funny. Say funny shit. Be entertaining.
Yeah, and again,
lead.
And people always go, "Oh, you guys are just..." No. I'm critical too, because he was up there in that same speech going after. I'm gonna make China do, and 100% tariffs. It's like, bro, what do you leave them? Like the last time you were talking shit about China, a virus came out of fucking Wuhan. Shut up. Don't give the enemy any. Just I'm with you guys. Be quiet. Don't bring it out there. It's like, let the game come to you, because they're gonna be coming after him. But in his defense, though, from what they've been doing from 2016, it's gonna be 2024, right? you have to give him a little bit of leeway for being furious at everybody.
What did Oberman say to him this last week?
Keith Olbermann.
Elon Musk tweeted.
So this is, and again, this tactic that why has made Trump this angry, like pissed off person that wants revenge. He did this speech and he said, when it comes to this, like it's going to be a bloodbath, meaning, with all the illegals coming in, and Oberman took this one little part out, Andrew, and made him seem like he is going to, if he comes in, it's going to be a bloodbath, as in he's going to be killing people, and they fact checked them, and then Elon fact checked them too. And by the way, and this is that thing that we were talking about. The news is already out. Millions of people, like we talked about the RFK thing on the late night. Everybody took that quote and they're like, "Oh my God, Donald Trump is going to do a bloodbath when he comes in." But then Elon and all these guys put the actual full speech in context. But dude, this is Oberman. Keith Oberman has Trump derangement syndrome more than anybody I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, it's just like,
while you're looking for that, if I can just give some credit to, and we have a lot of brilliant political minds here, left, right. Leave it to a comedian to come out here, basically say really what's going on, because there's a big difference between campaigning when you're not in office, when you're actually governing when you're in office. Trump, doing the insult comedy thing, that's going to get eyeballs. That's going to ingratiate him to a lot of people who understand there are problems in America. But there's a big difference when you're actually at the podium, being the president. You have to unify. What are you calling it? Being a Doug guy?
Diffuse, unified
glue. The problem is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's such that Don Rickles type character, and the media's going to attack him. The left's going to attack him. The woke's going to attack him. It's really hard to be that guy from going from insult to, come on, guys,
but
let's
by
all
the way,
come together.
guess what? You know what? For our business, it's better for him to be this way. Let me say so because they watch the podcast. So for our business, the more you do this, the more stories we have.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, for the sake of America, when you're in, just do your part. Best word you said. What a way of putting it. Winning, leading.
Yes.
Right? Winning, leading. You're a winner. Now, apply some of that stuff into.
Tough.
Yeah.
Leading is tough, because you're an example of that leadership every single second of the day. And if you don't live up to that, we will call you out on it. You're asking us to live this life, but look at you, you're living like that. We're constantly looking for the hypocrisy so we don't have to live up to those values. That's why, leadership with religion comes from God, because when it's from a dude, we're like, bro, even Jesus was like, yo, I'm a man, I'm gonna fuck up, you're gonna fuck up, we're all gonna fuck up, right? The idea is we fuck up. That's the idea. And that's relatable. We're like, all right, thank God. I'm going to fuck up? Okay, good. I feel a little bit better. That guy up there, he doesn't fuck up, so I'm going to try my best to be like him, but I know I'm going to fuck up. And leadership is so hard from men because we are fallible. So, but those that can do it really well, it's a really magical feeling, man. Really magical feeling.
I wanted to make sure for us to do this podcast, I never want to do this without giving some kind of counsel, advice to kind of help you with your career. I know the next phase where you're going with negotiation, I think I have the right person to negotiate on your behalf. And if he's willing to represent you, I don't think you're going to find somebody better. This guy named Don Lemon, who, when he was asking Elon Musk about being signed by X, I don't know if you know what he asked for.
Can you tell me what happened?
I want to unpack it for you, so just kind of take notes, because when you're going through, you got to make sure you got to ask this stuff. So he wanted a free Tesla Cybertruck. He wanted $5 million and $8 million salary. Elon Musk has compared a former CNN Don Lemon to spoiled child from Charlie and Chocolate Factory after a report claiming the TV host made a series of contractual demands before his new show streaming on X. Lemon allegedly requested a Tesla's $8 million salary and an equity stake in X, together with a $5 million upfront payment on top. In a posting on X on Friday night, Musk simply wrote, Don Veruca Salt Lemon.
What'd he say?
Veruca Salt is the one that goes, I want it now. Remember the girl that falls with the goose egg?
In reference to the character from the 1970 film that sees the youngster making clear her wants as she belts out, I want it now. Lemon is alleged to have demanded a flight to a private jet flight together with a suite for him and his fiancée, according to New York Post. In addition, it is claimed Lemon asked for X to pay for a day of drinking and massages, the Post reported.
Like who is Don? Bro, Don Lemon is so not relevant for him to be like, yo, I want steak inside of X. Are you effing kidding me, bro?
I'm trying to understand why Elon would pick Don. Like, I don't think Don was ever a respected political voice on the left.
I don't disagree. But maybe it's kind of like, hey, you know, I'll bring maybe in his mind strategically this is my Alex Jones of the left. You guys are upset. I read Alex on. It's kind of like, look, I also got another guy here from the other side.
Yeah.
That's going to be here.
I love both sides. I think it's great to have a Tucker and to have somebody else, but I never looked at Don as even a journalist. I just thought he was like a prompter reader. Like,
That's exactly what he was. That's exactly what he is.
I didn't know if he had like a political opinion. Like Tucker has a political opinion.
Right.
Did Don ever have a political opinion?
No, he was a propagandist. He just literally said whatever was coming in through his earpiece, he was saying.
Yeah, I just didn't know. Maybe I wasn't as.
No, you're right, Andrew. You're 100% right.
I don't think Don and Tucker are equals, regardless of what their political points of view are. I don't think they're equals in terms of their like ability to influence culture. Who would be the left Tucker?
Well,
Jon
right now,
Stewart.
No,
I think John is so centrist. Like, I think Tucker is very right, not very right, but more right than John is left.
Who? That's a
I think
great
John is more center.
As far as name recognition, you've got Jon Stewart, you've got Bill Maher, you've got our friend Cuomo. I mean, Don Lemon to me is delusional. Like the fact that he's making demand, the fact that his name is even mentioned in the same sentence as Elon Musk at this point. Don Lemon is like a hot chick who's washed up, and he's like, "I deserve the world." It's like, girl, nobody's buying you anything at this point, girl.
Would it be Jay Tapper, Pat?
You know, I got to tell you, man. I don't know. I was. He wrote in one of the articles, he was being interviewed. He says, so since you've been away, what have you been listening to? Rob, you sent this to me, I think, when this happened. He says, yeah, I've been listening to PBD podcast. I'm like,
who's Don?
Don Lemon said in an interview that he was listening to the podcast where I'm like, okay, maybe he was in a, what do you call it? In a sheltered place where it's kind of like all you know is, the left and all the stuff that CNN is feeding you and all these things. Anyways, right there, down, go a little lower, zoom in a little lower. It's like amongst his favorite recent podcasts, includes very conservative PBD podcast.
Very.
Daily Wire Ben Shapiro and his takes on Israel and all this stuff, and he watches Piers Morgan, all these things. Okay. So I'm like, okay, cool. Piers Morgan, I think, has done a phenomenal job the last 6 months, if you ask me.
He's had a resurgence, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. Phenomenal. And I put Piers and Shannon Sharp in the same league in the last 6 months. I think Shannon's
killing
in a different way. Shannon's absolutely killing it. Yeah,
really.
So, but the point is, I was hoping for this to come out and be like, hey, here's, what's going on. I had a blind spot. I had this, I had that. But then you doubled down on arrogance. It's not attractive.
He's a diva.
Yeah, He's not attractive. And then the guy that is giving you the offer, you go talk to him like you're interrogating him. It's a turnoff. But I did not know he made all those asks. And I didn't know that Elon agreed to give him all those things.
Oh, did he agree, or this was like?
No,
I don't know if he agreed. I think he gave him the platform to come on, but then when this deal came out, he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing any of that."
Right after the end of the interview, he's like, "I'm done. Our offer is off the table, or whatever." I think it was something where they were about to make a deal.
Yeah, that was the main ask. I'm pretty sure they negotiated it to something different. But
can I ask you something, Andrew? Let's wrap up on this. So, for you, okay. You have a guess. What you see? What do you put up?
The tweet. Elon is.
Elon's he's funny too, bro.
So for you have a guest that comes on.
Yeah.
And let's say you're somebody that you do a deal with Elon. Elon says, Andrew, we want you on X.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You make a deal with him. You interview with him. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're going through the process. What are the basic rules or even the unspoken, like, when 50 said, I'm 17 years old, the guys that are working for me, I only have enough money to pay them, but if I don't pay them, I lose my influence. So I paid them and I was broke, but I made sure they didn't know about it. That kind of street wisdom you can't, you have to have. But also in the interview, in this game of building the relationship and moving up, you also have to be careful to not, you ask the questions, you go through some of the questions that you're curious about, but you also want to maintain that relationship, right?
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the, approaches that Don could have taken to not interrogate Elon the way he did, so he could have had a longer relationship with Musk?
You could build respect first. Because I don't think Elon is against getting hard-hitting questions. Like, he's hit with them every single day. Every interview, I imagine that he does, somebody's going to ask him a really difficult question. But maybe build a little bit more respect. What I'm assuming is because Don had the deal with Elon, and Elon has now been positioned as this right-wing guy, and Don was this darling of the left, I imagine that his ego probably made him think that in order to prove to his constituents that he isn't now sold out, that he's going to come out really hard on his now employer to prove to all his followers, hey, I'm still authentic, I'm still rocking for my beliefs, etc. And maybe that was a miscalculation. Because maybe he is a really thoughtful, intelligent dude, and maybe Elon saw something in him and realized, hey, he'd be a great asset on this platform, and now he has a little bit more freedom to kind of, be the person that maybe Elon knows him to be. Maybe he knows something about him that we don't know. But I think that there is a way to ask people hard questions that in a little bit more elegant manner. And but also there's like sometimes I feel like with the gotcha questions, there's like a little like sociopathy in it. Like I feel like you ask somebody to be in your interview and you have no empathy for how they might feel bringing up something really difficult. Like, it's different when it's a presidential candidate because they're auditioning for a job. But like just somebody that you're interested in, then you ask them, then you just start banging them with these fucking hard questions. It's like, that's still a human being. They got a family. They got these things. So I don't know. I think a certain amount of elegance when you're getting to that topic is good.
That's the key word, elegance.
Yeah.
That's the key word. And he lacked it in that interview. And it's, by the way, this could have been, on a serious note, this could have been, there is not a bigger opportunity he could have had of a person that would have opened up the floodgates for him. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know how he got that opportunity. Because even if you go to CNN, Cuomo was the face for a few years, back to back to back.
Yeah.
Cooper was the face. O'Reilly's face, Hannity face, Tucker face. I don't know if Don was ever the face.
Never.
Don was always in the bottom 50. I think it was ranked 50, 49 where he was ranked.
Yeah.
And, and they even tried to make the show change. And then he had that other show with the girl and all that stuff. And even that got canceled. But I thought this was a great opportunity for him. Again, another reason why podcasting is a very different game than reading teleprompters. And then you run back to CNN for that interview. A little bit disappointed. I thought the approach was going to be different. I got a handful of questions I'd want to ask Don. If Don was, wanting to sit down and have a conversation, I got 5 questions I'd want to ask him.
What do you want to ask him?
I'll tell you privately, okay. but I don't want to say it because then I want to ask him because he just got $25 million, right? The remaining money in the contract, whatever the contract that was paid to him, right? Whatever
from
CNN
From CNN,
he got the remaining money.
Yeah.
So he got the remaining money, and then you go back to do the interview with CNN right after your Musk interview is over with. But there's a part with Zucker maybe working on something behind closed doors.
Now you're cooking.
That he's saying, hey guys, stay tuned. I'm about to announce something. What's the whole thing? We're going to bring the team together.
Bring the band back
bring
together.
The band together. I think Zucker may be doing some conference calls nobody knows about to say we'll bring the band
with
together.
The CNN, the old
this
band.
This is great PR right here, right?
Yeah, I think it is. And by the way, this is because Cuomo's right now with News Nation, and he's enjoying it on the cable side, right?
I thought he's coming here.
No, non-cable is with us. Okay. Cable, he's with News Nation. We're not interested. We're not competing cable. So cable, you do whatever you want to do. Cable, on the non-cable stuff, you're going to see him a lot more involved here, stuff that we're doing, because this guy's going to be voting for Trump. So we need somebody else that we can be talking to. And
we need some more lefties around here.
No. Meaning you're not. I don't think you're very happy with what Biden's doing and what Biden's America looks like, and the conversation.
I'm just like Fox. I'm fair and balanced, guys. Everybody knows that about Fox.
Well, I mean,
fair and balanced. That's where I'm
spending a lot of time with Dave Rubin. That's what happens when you do that. So, but anyways, going back to this, I think Zucker may be cooking something behind closed doors, and they trust Zucker, and maybe Zucker is going to do something for cable.
And it's election year. It's election year. All these Bill Maher's, all these people that we thought 2 years ago they were like, oh, they're starting to wake up. Nope. Trump is the guy. Trump is gonna be he is the freaking candidate. Now they're all starting that Trump shit again. He's evil. It's all. That's what he said this year. This year, it's like, bro.
But I tell you,
it's happening again.
If we are small thinkers and we're confused, and all of a sudden, Don Lemon says, "You guys are fools." I'm about to start the next WMECAA representing people, negotiating on their behalf, and you guys, I'm the modern day Ari Emanuel.
There we go.
I'm the man. I'm going to go broker all these deals and get a bunch of people with cyber trucks.
And Bill Maher's looking for new representation these days.
Yeah,
apparently he fired CAA. Couldn't get to the party.
Yeah, why was that?
Because he wasn't invited to the party.
I can't fathom that.
Okay.
Bill Maher wasn't invited.
Yeah, he didn't come. They don't want him to come to a party. And he's like, I'm going to fire my agent.
What is the story, Rob, with Bill Maher?
Bill Maher fired CAA after Oscar party snub. He fired CAA sources.
A party? Can you imagine that? You don't get invited to a party, so you fire your agent?
It says he's been with his reps for over 2 decades, and after not being invited to CEO Brian Lord's private Oscar party, time for them to go.
That is on Saturday night. Maher, according to sources, was furious that they were snubbed.
There's something else going on.
The party lords at the home drew J.J. Abrams, was there, Barry Diller, Kamala Harris, Margot Robbie. Okay, maybe Kamala said don't have him there, Bob Iger.
But who leaked the story?
Yeah, where was it reported?
Roberts,
this is the Hollywood Reporter. Everything reports.
Or he leaves them, and CAA has to do something to protect themselves. So they go, oh, he left because he wasn't invited to a party.
Good
and
point.
Now he looks like this Hollywood pansy.
Oh.
But he's really upset because contract negotiation with the HBO show isn't going the way he wants to go or something.
Probably.
There's so many other things going on here. Like, I saw that thing about Bruno Mars owing $50 million to MGM, and I'm like, who would leak that?
Yeah, who said that?
Like, he wouldn't leak that. It's embarrassing. MGM definitely wouldn't leak that. Like, they're in business together.
Yeah.
I think they have a residency.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why is this out there? Like, what? Who wins from this information being placed out there? Right? Something's going on.
Yeah, he's a horrible gambler. $50 million in the hole.
On paper, listen, for
Filipinos
2 decades.
like to get busy, bro. I knew it immediately.
All right, sounds good. Well, Schulz, Reverend Schulz, appreciate you for today.
Yes.
Showing up.
Thank you guys so
guys,
much, man.
everybody out there watching, we're going to pass around the, what do you call it, the tithes and offerings.
The donation
plate, and just be ready when you're doing that. But more than anything else, if you heard me say a couple jokes here on, with Schulz, a lot of it was because of the show on Friday night. It was absolutely freaking amazing.
Thank you, man.
Are people able to, do you have any other events coming up that people can go to? Okay, you got LA March 20th, March 30th.
Sold out.
April 5th, Houston. April 6th, Dallas. Shit, sold out. Okay, then guys, don't go to it because it's sold out. Wait for it. Jacksonville, Charlotte, keep going. Atlanta, Nashville. Okay, for sure you have to go watch this.
Thank you, man.
I'm telling you for sure. Just take my word for it. Go watch it. It's absolutely hilarious.
Thank
Rob,
you,
what
man.
the website is this? Andrew Schulz upcoming date?
It's
called the life show, right?
Yeah,
You crushed it, man. Congrats on
fantastic.
being a new father. I think that was a lot of what the premise was.
And I went and told Mark, I said, Mark, I'm sorry, man. I had no idea you were a big deal. You freaking killed it on stage.
So funny,
I thought he was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, take care, everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Yes.
And we'll do it again next week. Take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Peace.